Good evening, fuckers, and here we are with a slightly different video from my channel. Anyway, if you are, for whatever reason, familiar with the collaborations playlist that I have, this won't come as any surprise to you at all, as I am joined by PantherUK and JimJim, who has left out the plays bit from his name there. You may be more familiar with us from Elite Dangerous lately, but enough about that. So, right, for this one we are going to answer that most difficult of questions, which is the best album that Iron Maiden released. And in order to do that, we have come up with our own top fives, which are almost certainly going to contain numerous duplicates. Yeah, I'm sure this is going to go really well. Well, let's start by trying to answer one question, which is pretty difficult, which is why are Iron Maiden simply so good? Three reasons easily spring to mind for me. Firstly, their sound is very British as far as metal goes, and they have pretty much made that the definitive Iron Maiden sound. The second thing, their album covers have reached legendary status. I don't think there can be any doubt about that. And the third thing, although it wasn't always there, is Bruce Dickinson's singing. That is what really does stand out for me. I mean, I say this as someone who is a fan of death metal and black metal, but there is nothing that sounds as good as hearing a metal band that has a singer who can actually sing. That just is the ultimate finishing touch. So what do you two reckon?
Well, I can't argue with that. I mean, for me, Bruce Dickinson is probably second only to Freddie Mercury for me in the list of all-time great rock singers that do that sort of thing.
Agreed.
Their sound has changed over the years, but it hasn't at the same time. It's kind of evolved, but even on like their newer releases, you've still got the gallop that first really appeared around the sort of time of Number of the Beast, so like 82. And that gallop it appears on pretty much all of their albums in one form or another, sometimes more than once.
Yeah, so it really has become their trademark, hasn't it? That.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that was to do with the style of playing that Steve Harris does on his bass. I mean, you could hear that right in the first album, probably a little bit more in the second album, but the galloping bass line that seems to have nothing to do with how the lead is going, but always seems to work.
Doing its own thing, which is another thing I really like, actually. Have the bass doing something different, not just following what the rhythm and lead guitars are doing.
One of the things that always stuck out at me about Steve Harris was normally when you hear a bass guitar play, you hear those low sort of dum 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 sort of notes, but he's also got the plunking sound on top. So not only have you got the bass, you've got that dum tickling sort of sound on the top of it as well, which is I don't think unless it's someone copying Maiden, I don't think I've heard another band that has that sound. Not for a fast bass player. I mean, you might argue that Mark King from Level 42 can play bass, and he can, but it's a totally different sound from like the slap bass sound to the way Harris just sort of like does that with his fingers and just makes all this noise.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's using a pick, but he ain't. He's using his fingers.
The only band I can think of where they come close to having that type of bass sound, it's completely different style of metal, is Sonic Violence, but they need two bass players in order to do that. Harris is doing this on his own,
Well, you couple that with Nico McBrain, who only has one bass drum, but he's got a double pedal with a heel and forward kick on it. So where a lot of these like newer thrash bands that use blast beats and that are using 2 feet, Nico's got 1 foot and 1 bass drum. All right, it's one great big fuck off bass drum, but it's just one nonetheless.
Yep. Okay. If I'm being like ultra picky, they have had some rather slack songs in their time. They did go through a stage where, well, actually, I'll cover that when we start going through the albums. But the bulk of the time, I'd say they were pretty much flawless. I would certainly have them as, by a distance, the best British metal band of all time.
Yeah, I didn't think
there'd be any arguments with that one.
No argument to that at all.
Okay. Well, let's get on then with the list, with the 5. So, well, as Jim is the newcomer to these top 5s, we'll give him the honours of starting off.
Right, okay. I will, obviously I've got my favourite. The other 4 aren't in any particular order.
Right.
I do apologise if I've nicked any of yours.
No, it's fine.
Duplicates are inevitable, so don't worry about that.
Okay, yeah. So one of my top 5 is Power Slave. Okay. What I particularly like about that is the prog rock sort of element to it. I mean, it was almost like a concept album. It's about 95% a concept album with the sort of Egyptian theme to it, especially with the title track. But they done it so well, and they even though they had the prog rock sort of sound to it, they still kept their Maiden signature sound as well. And as well as the awesome title track, they produced a few more awesome songs out of that as well. I mean, I'm thinking Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, which is one of my favourite all-time tracks of theirs. And obviously the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. Absolute amazing song, that one. So, I could listen to this all day long. I particularly used to put this on repeat when I was doing sort of long drives up and down the country.
Yeah, it was quite a bit longer than the certainly the 2 previous albums that came before it. So, can you bring up the playlist for this one?
I certainly can. I certainly can't.
Oh, okay.
Well, while you're doing that...
there we go. Oh, hang on, no, we've still got Virtual 11 up here.
Yeah, these aren't in any date order. That's the problem I've got here.
Okay. Yeah, you've gone... I think you went past it.
I think this was the album that got them this is the album that got them sort of recognised in, more globally because of the sort of prog rocky. It was slightly more accessible. I think Brazil and a lot of the Central and Southern Americas started hearing about Maiden.
Yeah.
And I think Nico McBrain, I think it was this album, he said this album made us famous very fast, very quickly. Globally.
Yeah, and now, their following in Central and South America is fucking enormous. So if this was the album that did it, no surprise, this is also on my list. On my list, I've got this at number 4. And this is the album I was telling you about the last couple of days. At one point I had it at 3. At one point I even had it at number 2. But I put it down to number 4 for one reason. For me, this album is all about side 2. Which is rather showing my age. So let's say it's all about the second half of the album. Now, Back in the Village, that's the extra track that got added, isn't it?
It's been on all of them that I've had. I've got it on vinyl and cassette and CD, so...
Okay, because I had it on vinyl, but I only had 7 songs. So it's like one got added there.
Yeah, I had it on tape that my mate had taped for me off his vinyl.
But,
Back in the Village, a follow-up to The Prisoner as well, by the way.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Which is a great song, but I dare say we'll be covering that in more detail a bit later on. Right, well, we go through them, right? So, it starts with Aces High, and I've got to admit, I'm not big on Aces High. I think it's the weakest song on the album.
Oh, those are big words, Mister.
Yeah, mind you, like how I say it, it's the weakest song of the album. I don't think it's a crap song, but it just doesn't stand up to the rest of it, I don't think.
Yeah, I like Ace's Eye. It's and it was always played really well live, I thought, as well.
Yeah, I mean, live, when they start it off with Churchill's speech, it doesn't matter what your politics are and what you might think of Winston Churchill today. His speeches are legendary, and the way they kicked off the World Slavery Tour with Churchill's Fight 'em on the Beaches speech with the sound of the Spitfires starting up and that, and then they break into, I think they use the intro from the studio version, and all the fireworks and lights come on, and bang, it's like Ace's High. The live version is really good. And I mean, in more recent years, when Bruce hasn't been shagged out from spending 2 years on the road, he can sing Ace's Eye really well again now.
I've never had any complaints about Bruce's singing at any time, you know. Yeah, I don't know what it is about it. I think it's just that, like I say, I think most of the rest of the album is just so much better that Ace's High takes a bit of a back seat with me. I never said I wasn't going to be, giving any controversial opinions, and I've already done it with the first fucking song. Right, so
controversial.
I don't know. There'll be a lot of Maiden fans who'll be after me blood after hearing me say that. Right, so next, 2 minutes to midnight.
Absolutely.
I don't even know. I don't know if I should say this. Yeah, this is not one of my favourites either. It's weird, and actually, this is far from the first time albums. But for me, the two singles are the two weakest songs. The rest of the album is just so much better than the two songs they released as singles for some reason.
I mean, what I will say about the first two, they're very Maiden-y. They sound like they should have been on an earlier album. Maybe they were shelved onto this one. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
It's possible. When you compare it to the rest of the album, certainly with Ace's High, it does. You do sort of think it doesn't really fit, and that could again be one of the reasons why I'm not so big on it. Because it just compared to the rest, it's not quite there.
Yeah, I mean, I remember reading an interview with Steve Harris about their sort of concept albums, and there've been a few. And he said the trouble is they didn't deliver the concept across all the tracks and fully tell the story.
Well, certainly a song about a World War II, fighter pilot on an album covered in Egyptology doesn't quite fit, does it?
Yeah, well, the first attempt obviously proves that no end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I do like 2 minutes to midnight. It's been a live staple of theirs for years, and it is a good live song. Because I mean, a lot of people have like a go at Maiden over the years for saying, you've got really simple choruses, they're very repetitive, and that is like, do you not understand crowd participation? If you write a chorus that's only got 2 or 3 lines, then the singer can get the entire audience up and shouting. And 2 minutes to midnight, I mean, I've seen Maiden about 6 or 7 times, and every time they play 2 minutes to midnight, instead of doing that, when they do that, everyone does that. When Bruce sings 2, it's like 2. And yeah, I do like it. They're not my favourite ones on the album. In fact, it'll probably come as quite a surprise what my favourite song is on this album. But yeah, I've got no quibbles. Like Chris, like Lucosa says, it's they're not the strongest songs on the album, but I often find that Maiden's weakest songs are better than most other bands.
Oh, yeah. Actually, something you just said there, that was something I was going to mention later on. One thing I would never normally accuse Maiden of doing is cutting corners. But occasionally, with their songs, particularly in their choruses, they did do that. The whole thing about the chorus is just like 2 lines repeated. I don't actually mind it if it's 2 lines repeated. What I don't like is when they do stuff like The Evil That Men Do, where it is just the same line 4 times. That drives me around the bend. And I just thought, surely, in fact, no, there's no doubt about it. I know Maiden could have written a better chorus than that. but I don't think 2 Minutes to Midnight is one that does suffer from that. Say, The Evil That Men Do definitely is. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter is another one that does. And Be Quick or Be Dead to a degree does as well. But
yeah, but
no,
if you've ever seen them songs live, and you're in the middle of the crowd chanting that along with old Brucey, then you kind of get it. Then that's why they do it, because it works in a live. And Maiden are predominantly a live band. They record most of their albums live in the studio. You know, they might go in for a few solos or some vocal overdubs, but they do tend to have Nico in one room, Steve in another room, Yannick in another, Dave in another, Adrian in the other, and Bruce either singing along or putting the vocals down afterwards, because it makes life easier. They do genuinely play them live. So yeah, they are a live band.
Yeah, that's one thing that you certainly have over me, just because you've had the chance to see them live. I'm not proud to admit it. I've never actually seen a Maiden show, apart from on videos and what have you. So
well, the last one I went to, this T-shirt came from that. So.
Okay. Right, on to Lost for Words, the instrumental. Maiden never fail when it comes to instrumentals, do they? I don't know what I can really add to that. It's fucking great.
Yeah,
I love it.
It is good. It is good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only vocals in that is literally Nico counting it in, isn't it?
Yeah.
and that's it. I'm sure it probably had a different working title to Lost for Words, which is, you know, obviously we can't even make a better pun on this one.
Yeah. Right. No more really to say about that one. Flash of the Blade. I got to admit, I don't remember this one very well.
Flash of the Blade is my favourite song on this album.
Okay. The shortest song as well.
Yeah.
Not that really has much to do with it, but I had a feeling, well, I thought I knew what your favourite song would be, and I thought it was going to be the same one as mine, but no, I didn't think it was going to be this.
No, I really like this song. It's got a catchy chorus. It's got a nice lead intro. It's got nice crisp drumming on it. It's just one that's always stuck out to me. A lot of people in the music press and some fans as well would say everything between 2 Minutes to Midnight to Power Slave is filler. I say that's utter bollocks.
That is utter bollocks. Yeah, I can't agree with that at all.
No, how can that instrumental one be filler? That probably took longer to produce and write than most of the others. Unbelievable.
All right. Well, after that bombshell, let's go on to side 2. So we start with the Duelists.
That's a Bruce Dickinson fencing track, isn't it? It's a good song.
Yeah, it's a solid song. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot he loved his fencing.
Oh God, bloody hell! I don't think many people ever got the chance to forget that.
No, I completely forgotten about that. Yeah.
So he was at Olympic level, wasn't he?
Oh, was he as good as that?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, I didn't know.
He can't do. I mean, he can fence to Olympic standard. He can fly a airline.
Yeah.
He can write books. And now and again he does a bit of singing.
Yeah.
I've read his book recently, talking about things he does, and I love the story of how he got expelled from boarding school. While we're talking about things Bruce can and can't do, and according to his book, and obviously I'll give you the edited what I remember version. There was he went to a boarding school, and there was some housemaster there that was, or you know, like a prefect type character there that was an utter fucking Hitler type person, you know, really nasty to the smaller boys and stuff like that. So when it was Bruce's and his mates' turn to cook breakfast, they pissed in his baked beans and stirred it up, served it up, And they made the mistake of telling someone else, and of course, school being school, and especially a boarding school, we'd all the time.
Yeah.
It went round, and they found out about it. And Bruce Dickinson said in his book something along the lines of, he goes, "I might have got expelled that day, but as I looked at him, I thought to myself, you ate my piss."
It was worth it.
Right, on that note, on to the next one. Right, Back in the Village, which, yeah, that wasn't on the original pressing of the album, so I don't know it.
Yeah, I'm not overly familiar with that one.
Well, it's quite a fast-paced. It's probably the fastest song on the album. I'm trying to think of the lyrics now. I mean, I can play a bit of it if you want.
Go on, let's have a bit of that.
Let's go over to the right screen because StreamYard ain't going to work. I hate to do that, but
That's going to be the problem with playing the audio clips. It's we got to stop it before we hear the whole thing.
Did it ring any bells now you've heard a bit of it?
It did actually, yeah. I have heard it.
Yeah, it got me tapping me foot and everything.
Yeah. I actually prefer The Prisoner, but The Prisoner is, I think, a truly great song. So to do like a follow up to that, that's a brave choice.
Yeah, I mean, I watched an Iron Maiden documentary, and Bruce Dickinson was in and around Port Merion doing his part of it, and he had like the blazer on with a little thing from The Prisoner and that on there. Because I get the feeling, even though he wasn't allowed to have credits because of his contract finishing with Samson when he joined Maiden in '82, I've got a feeling Bruce Dickinson had more than a blank fucking slate when it came to writing The Prisoner. I always have thought that, because he is something he's really into. But that song's got some nice touches in it. There's like, if you've got a good set of headphones, there's a bit in that where Bruce sings "I See Sixes all the way," and in the background, if you've got a good set of headphones or speakers up, you can hear someone whispering "6, 6, 6" in the background. It's just little touches like that you don't notice on an 80s Walkman when you're a kid with a tape deck. You know what I mean?
It's interesting you say that, because when it was playing, I thought this sounds like it would fit better on Number of the Beast, and with those little touches there that you're mentioning. I wonder if that may have been, well, obviously, no, it can't have been the intention, but maybe he certainly had the idea for the song around the time that they were recording that.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
Right, on to the next song, Power Slave. I fucking love this song.
Yeah.
I think this is their second best song they ever did, and it's very close to being number one. I won't say what the number one song is, but I can guarantee you it is going to get a mention later on. I just think this is fucking flawless.
It is fantastic. I mean, I was when I saw him last, I went to Birmingham in 2017 to see him on the Book of Souls tour, and Power Slave was in the set list. I'd never seen Power Slave live before, so that was something, because I weren't expecting it, because I made a point. I'm the sort of person that doesn't care about spoilers. I'll look up films before I go and watch them. But I thought, no, I haven't seen Maiden for 11 years was the time before. I thought, I haven't seen them for 11 years. I was taking my son, who was he was 17 at the time, so it was his first big gig. So it was like full circle, because I first saw Maiden when I was 16, and I thought, right, I'm not going to look up. And then when the sound effects tape started for Power Slave, I was like, I'm going to have to take a step back, or I'm going to hit the bloke in front with my stiffy. It was like, oh, they're playing Power Slave. You know, I just wasn't expecting it, because obviously they played a lot from the Book of Souls, because it was the current, you know, it was the album they was touring.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they played all their usual stuff they play, but I was not expecting Power Slave. And yeah, it is a fantastic song. I mean, all right, I say the Flash of the Blade is my favourite song on this album, but that takes nothing away from any of the others. And like you say, Power Slave is nigh on perfect. Right from the backing vocals over the chorus.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music, even without the vocals, the music changes so much throughout, and the tempo and the impact of it. It sort of tells its own story without even having to listen to the vocals as well.
Yeah, the bit that I always really love hearing is the guitaring in like the bridge, you know, the pre-chorus part. I just think that fucking sounds fantastic.
It does. It literally conjures up Egypt. I don't, you know, any Egyptians watching, I'm sorry if you feel differently, but for someone growing up and living in England, that sound, and it's probably because of this album, but if I listen to Power Slave now, that bridge just stinks of pyramids.
Yeah.
You can see snakes coming out of baskets.
Yeah, an absolute fucking Stonewall classic, that one. And then the album finishes with an unbelievable epic with Rime of the Ancient Mariner, and this is another one. I cannot get enough of this. What a fucking masterpiece this song is.
Yeah, this is the Hallowed Be Thy Name of this album. I absolutely adore this song.
Yeah, same here. It's and this is another one where I really like the live version as well, because when they finished the slow bit with Richard Burton doing the voiceover from Coleridge's original poem, there's a bit where Bruce screams it back in again, and I wish I'd seen Rime of the Ancient Mariner live and been there for it. But yeah, it's an unbelievable song. I remember the first time I heard this album, because I got into Maiden round about '88, and round about the time Can I Play of Madness come out, and I remember a couple of months after that, I went to a place in Shepherd's Bush called Gold Hawk Road, and there was a computer shop there. Me and my mate went to buy Dungeon Master for the Atari ST, and there was a record shop next door. It said Cut Price Records, and I thought, well, that's handy. So I went and looked in there, and they had Seventh Son on tape for a $5. You ain't going to see it because of the light, because I thought I'd try it. I've got it here. My original tape.
What we can see is a lot of the Trooper showing through it.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. But that's I've still got that tape. I was hoping the camera would pick it up better, but yeah, I bought that for a $5, and then I started work a few weeks after that. And with my first week's wages, I went into Enfield Town, because I grew up in Enfield. I went into Enfield Town, and I bought all the Maiden albums up to that point on tape, except for Summer in Time. I had to order that one because they didn't have it in the shop, and all I had was a tape deck at the time. And I remember coming home and putting Power Slave on, and I'd only heard Seventh Son and the odd couple of tracks. I'd heard a bit of Peace of Mind and that, and I was like listening to it, and I was looking at my watch, and I was thinking, is this track ever going to fucking end? This is absolutely fucking brilliant. And the good thing was, one of the last things I'd done in English at school was stuff about Samuel Taylor Coleridge. So, of course, I was kind of au fait with the poem already. And I was like, this is unbelievable. A song of an epic poem. And it's an epic song.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. Because I had the tape on of it, and suddenly I heard the lines from the poems we've been studying in English. You know, water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. But I was like, bloody hell. Because I hadn't even looked at the track list. I just stuck it on while I was doing stuff. And there it was. So, yeah.
See, I'm not big on poetry, so I was just all about how great the song was.
I'm not. Obviously, we were forced to study it in English literature.
Yes, yeah.
All right, Jim, it looks like we're going to have to come down an intelligence level here.
Yeah.
Oh, you like the song then, you hairy cunt? There you
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I've already dragged you two down to my level by getting you on the channel. I'm going to carry on dragging it down. Don't worry. So there we go, Parasafe. I mean, yeah, absolutely deserves its spot. So number 5 on Jim's list and number 4 on mine. Right, is it on yours, Panther?
Nope.
It is not on. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well.
It's one of the contenders for the where 7 could have hit the same spot.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, in that case, we better have then Panther's number 5.
Panther's number 5. Right. Well, I shall go back to it.
All right.
Now, where's it going to stop, do you reckon?
Right, go on.
There's my number 5. The return of Bruce Dickinson and the return of Adrian Smith and the retention of Yannick Gers.
Yes, I've got to admit that was my number 4.
Okay.
For similar reasons as you've just stated.
Right. I'll admit it's not on mine. It's an album that I'm not as familiar with as I should be, because after Blaze Bayley, I had kind of lost a bit of interest in Iron Maiden. So even though I knew Bruce was coming back, I was still a bit indifferent. But it is one of those albums that I've been listening to a bit more lately, and it became obvious very quickly that I really did miss out. So I'm not as familiar with it as I should be, but I do know from what I must have heard about half of it. I've heard 4 songs. How many are there?
Quite a few.
Okay. Well, I've heard 4, and I loved every single one.
Right. Well, there's when we've looked at the artwork and that, I'll get to the reason why this is on my list. So we got the album cover there, and then the first single was the Wicker Man that preceded the album,
which I must admit I think is a fucking great song.
Yeah,
even though it goes against what I was saying just a little while ago about simple choruses. I mean, this is the same line repeated 4 times, but with this, it's just a very short, almost like a chant, and it works because of that. I can imagine that is one where, when it's being played live, Bruce probably doesn't need to sing a single word with the chorus. You've got, like 30,000 people all shouting it out for him.
Yeah, he'll just shout, "Scream for me," and they'll do the rest.
Yeah, so there was an alternative bit of art for this, which is that one, which I think was another. I don't know if it was Melvin Grant. It might be another Melvin Grant one, and I've got that on. I've got the CD single, so I've actually got that Eddie on the disc. Now, if you
seen that actually, that's really good. I like that. I've not seen that before.
If you go back to this, I can't remember now who did the bottom half of this picture, but the top half of that picture, that's a Derek Riggs Eddie.
Derek Riggs. Yeah.
That's a Derek Riggs Eddie. Now, that was taken from the rejected Wicker Man art. They rejected the art for the Wicker Man and decided to use it for the album instead. And this is where Derek Riggs and Iron Maiden started to fall out, because they'd kind of tell him what they wanted. And it's not so much he wasn't over keen on painting it. In the end, he gave up and said, "I'll just paint what you want me to paint." And they weren't always happy with it. And, I even though Derek Riggs is a fantastic artist, and he still is, for me, when I was growing up, there were 2 artists. One was Derek Riggs, one was Oliver Frey. And that remains true today. His stuff's still good, but his Eddies, I think, started going a bit wayward. So anyway, the Wicker Man single, where that face comes from, that's the bottom half of it. That's the actual Eddie at the bottom, and then the full artwork is that's the rejected Wicker Man single.
You can clearly see where the face in the clouds has come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's another version. This one's actually got Riggs's newer signature in the bottom left corner. And I don't know if this next one is a fan one or another Riggs one. But when I was looking for the artwork, because you said about looking for it, that was that one. I'm not sure if that's a Riggs one or not. I couldn't find any more information on that one. But I know that one is definitely the one that was rejected for the Wicker Man. But it's another fantastic bit of art. But you can see with this also, this is the start of where Derek Riggs was starting to use digital imagery rather than airbrushes and what have you.
Yeah, you can certainly see it in the smoke there, can't you?
Yeah, they do both look by the same artist. If you look at the stones at the bottom and flick through them, they're practically the same.
Yeah, I don't know if someone's taken Riggs's stuff and changed the background. He might well have done that one as well. It's got a Riggsy enough sky to it.
It looks to me like it's a fan-made one. The actual wicker Eddie that's at the bottom there, in that one, doesn't look like it's up to Riggs's standards.
Yeah, I must admit this was a lower resolution image that I blew up to 1080 so it would fill the screen. Otherwise, it was a bit small. So it's slightly lower res than what it should be.
Yeah, I do like the Riggs cover. So it was rejected for what reason?
They didn't like it. They preferred the Eddie for the front. They wanted the Eddie for the front cover in the clouds, and they wanted, because it's like Brave New World, they wanted like a futuristic London with the Eddie in the clouds. And they liked that smoke Eddie so much, from what I could work out, that they decided to have that in the sky. And then, I mean, to my shame, I can't remember what the other artist's name is, but they had another artist, someone like Melvin Grant or Mark Williamson, someone who's quite a famous artist, did the rest of it, and they just basically joined the two images together. And I don't think Derek Riggs was happy about it, but they'd commissioned the painting, he painted that for them, and it was their bit of art to do what they wanted with.
Yeah. I think it's one of the biggest shames about Maiden was them falling out with Derek Riggs. I think he was as synonymous with Maiden as any of the band members were. I mean, when you think of heavy metal albums, it is invariably an Iron Maiden cover that first springs to mind. His artwork became legendary,
Yeah, definitely. So we'll pop the track list up then.
Yeah, let's bring up the list then.
Well, at least I know that begins with B, so it'll be at the top.
All right, there we go. So, The Wicker Man, I know it, and I think that is a fucking fantastic song. Great album opener.
Yeah, the album version's better than the American radio edit. I think it was only the US version that, when Bruce sings "Your Time Will Come," there's another bit of singing after that says "Thy Will Be Done," and it's all right, but it sounds a bit jumbled compared to the album version.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's the album version I heard. Well, I've been listening to it more recently. From the Maiden's official YouTube channel, and I would imagine they would have the album version up there from the 2015, the remastered one came along. Yeah,
I mean that when I first heard the album and the Wicker Man came on, it was like, Brucey's back. Yeah. Adrian Smith's back. There's now 3 guitars. I'm back. They're back again.
Yeah.
The Wicker Man for me was an excellent song, as well as being an amazing song. It also signified to me the return of the old sound again.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, all right, Martin Birch had retired, so you've got Kevin Shirley, who's still Maiden's producer now, and he's got better. He's got better as they've gone along. As he's learnt the Maiden ways. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the production on this album by any stretch of the imagination, but he's got better and better as they've gone on.
Well, he was the one that for this album said, right, sorry, Steve, it sounds crap in your studio in Essex, but in your shed or whatever. We're going to go to France and do this album, which they did.
Well, that place where Steve Harris, where his Barnyard studio was, that's not too far from where my brother lives in Essex. My brother lives like in Harlow, and it's not far from. It's like a 10-15 minute drive. I don't think he lives there anymore. But my brother's, we had to go out to get a car MOT'd, and he's got a mate that does MOT. So we went there, and he goes, "Oh, on the way back, he goes, I know where Steve Harris's mansion is." I was like, "All right, oh, excellent." So we went there, and he just parked. So he said, "We just walk up to the gates." He goes, "We're not going to like, stand here and call him or anything like that. We're just going to have a look, just see if we can see anything." He goes, "Because I haven't looked either. I just know where it is." So he parked up. We went and walked up past the gates and just ambled past, like we were smoking a fag or whatever. And he looked down the driveway, and there's the World Peace Tour Eddie, the one that was up behind the stage, just down the driveway. And you could just see into this like side building outhouse, like kind of like a barn that's like an awning on the side of the building. And I went, "Look at that." And you could see parts of the Fear of the Dark Eddie from the stage set, just under tarpaulins. You could see the claws sticking out, and you could see the top of the head and that, and you could tell it was the Fear of the Dark Eddie because of like the twiggy tops of the ears and that. And it's like, oh, fucking hell, you know what I mean? It's all this stuff. My brother's quite due to me. I'm 3 years older than my brother, and I got into Maiden when I was 16, and it rubbed off considerably on him, so he got into Maiden as well. And we've been to see Maiden together, I think 3 times now. We saw them twice on the Brave New World tour. We saw them once at Earl's Court. They had a couple of smaller bands supporting them at Earl's Court. They had Entombed, the Swedish like thrash band.
Yeah, I do like Entombed.
Yeah, and some other little known band called Slayer.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, I've heard of them vaguely.
Yeah, that was a pretty fucking good gig. And then we saw them again at the Shepherd's Bush Empire the following January. Me and my brother tried to get tickets for that, and I had about 3 mobile phones and a house phone all like ringing to get the tickets. I managed to get tickets for that. They played exactly the same set list, except the Shepherd's Bush Empire holds about 19,000 less people than Earl's Court did. So it was a lot more intimate kind of gig, a lot more sweaty, and coming out of there on sort of like the 4th or 5th of January in the middle of London in a sweaty t-shirt and a bomber jacket. The journey home was cold, to say the least.
Yeah.
But you got to see Eddie's graveyard, so to speak, then when he went to Steve Harris's back 40.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I would love to have got in there and had a poke around, giving it the old American pickers bit, but of course, this is England. We don't do that sort of thing. No. We've got another story about that later on.
Okay, right. Right, well, we'll save that one then. Go on to Ghost of the Navigator, and I do know this one as well, and I am quite a fan of this. This is, this is a great one.
This is the one for me where musically I thought, oh yeah, they've got the sound back. I mean, this could easily fit on Peace of Mind or Power Slave, the sound of Ghost of the Navigator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Brave New World. That's another one that's got a very repetitive chorus.
That is one that I'm not so familiar with. I mean, you'd have thought the title track of the album, oh yeah, I'd know it. No, I'm not too... I'm sure when next time I hear it, I'll be thinking, oh yeah, of course it's that fucking thing. But
if you want me to play a clip of anything, just say so. There is one clip in... I said there was one album I definitely wanted to play a clip from.
Is it this one?
It's this one, so I'm going to play that a bit later on, but I'm going to be starting sort of quite a way into the song for that. But
okay, well, give us a burst of Brave New World then.
Yeah, I was listening to it earlier. It's a pretty decent track.
is no more. Bring this savage back home. Well, darkness, house of pain, makes no sense of it all. Close this mind, dull this brain, man stand there for his fall. What you see, it's not real. Those who know will not tell. All is lost, soldier souls, to this brave new world. A brave new world, and a brave new world. A brave new world, and a brave new world. In a brave new world.
Ad infinitum.
Yeah. I think I was able to catch the lyrics of the chorus there quite well.
Did you? I've never managed to learn them myself.
Yeah. I'll run them through for you, you know, a bit later on once you finish this.
Okay, cheers, mate.
Yeah. See, I'm good for something. On the Blood Brothers, is there anybody who hasn't heard this one? This seems to have become almost a bit of a Maiden classic. Well, I certainly think it has. A number of times I hear this. There was a stage where everywhere I went, this was playing.
Yeah, it's on a lot of Maiden Spotify playlists as well.
Yeah, and they play it live a lot. It's a kind of for the fans sort of song.
Yeah, we're all very familiar with that one. It's a great one. Can't deny that. The Mercenary, we're on to the next one that I'm not so familiar with.
That's kind of the fast, upbeat, speedy song on the album.
That's a pretty good way of piquing my interest. Shall I have a burst of that?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll say it's one of the quick ones.
Day to kill, die to lose. Hunter, hunter, which are you? Diablo, come again to make trophies out of men. Lose your skin, lose your skull. One by one, the stack is full. In the heat, dehydrate. No wet breath will be your last. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You've got to kill to stay alive. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You've got to kill to stay alive.
Yeah, it's a nice, very upbeat song.
And very archetypal Maiden sound that. Yeah, that sounded fucking good. Right, the Dream of Mirrors. I don't think I am familiar with it. Looking at the running time, I'm assuming it's one of their sort of proggy sounding ones, which means I should have heard this one, and for some reason I haven't.
This is possibly for me the best song on the album. So I would recommend you listen to that Toot Sweet.
Okay. Right.
Oh yeah.
Note that one. Fallen Angel.
That's very much in the vein of the Mercenary that we just heard. It's another very fast, sort of heavy track.
Right, I'm just gonna have to get the whole fucking album, aren't I? There is no excuse for not that really. The Nomad. This one does sound familiar.
Right, the Nomad. Now this is one I want to play. I want to play a piece from. When I was listening to this album, I was getting into it, and the album was giving me the goosebumps. But there's one part in this song, and that's when Bruce sings the slower part of the chorus, where I was like, Oh fuck yes, the air raid siren is back, and that's the bit I want to play, so you can hear what I'm talking about.
Go on.
Yep.
I'll start it off, then I'll just forward to it.
No one dares to even look or glance your way. Your reputation goes before you, they all say. Like a spirit that can disappear at will. Many claim of things, but no one's seen you kill. No man, you're the writer's so mysterious. No man, you're the spirit that's been fearing us. No man, you're the writer of the desert sands. No man's ever understood your genius.
Now I didn't mind Blaze Bayley because I think Blaze Bayley is a good singer, but Blaze Bayley can't fucking do that.
That would not be out of place on any of their, like, well, say classic era albums, you know, the 80s era. Yeah, fucking great.
Yeah, I mean that was giving me. I can feel the hairs going on my neck just listening to that bit there, because I remember, you know, especially as we're talking about it, that first day I went and bought this album on the way to work. I was on a 2 till 10 shift, so I went to the record shop, bought it, and then I had to wait until I got home. My brother and his mate come round, and we put it on, and we sat there, the three of us. We may have indulged in some extraterrestrial tobacco, and we put this album on, and we just had to keep sort of like lifting our jaws up, and it's like, fuck me, they really are back. You know, not only did, because I remember when like Bruce rejoined, everyone was like, oh, Bruce is back in Maiden, and Adrian Smith's coming back. And then yeah, all right. Well, they've done a live tour. You know, he sings a couple of Blaze Bayley songs quite well. We'll see what happens. And then this album come out, and I got to that point, and I think I might have been close to tears at that point. When that started, I was like, oh fucking hell, you know what I mean? Absolutely done me.
Yeah. Yeah, totally understandable. They're on to Out of the Silent Planet, which I got to admit means nothing to me.
That was the second single of the album. If I can just tab back over to the pictures.
Go on.
Yeah, that was the second single they released.
Someone's
Not the
taking a
greatest single
selfie.
cover.
Someone taking a selfie there.
Well, yeah, I do like the Eddie on the front of the plinth, though. I had a tour T-shirt with that on the back of it that I wore for ages. And then when I started working for another supermarket, we're not so super, we had to wear high-vis jackets, and I inverted the image of that, and I had it printed black on the back of my high-vis.
There's no mistaking you there, then.
No, I think that's all the artwork for that, yeah. Yeah, there was only the two singles for that. But yeah, that's another good song. In fact, this is an album with no duffers on it, which is probably why it's made my list. But yeah, it's one I've listened to a lot recently.
Okay, and then we finish with The Thin Line Between Love and Hate, which I do know. And yeah, a great way to bring the album to a close.
Yeah, it's a fantastic album. You need to listen to all of it.
Yeah, I've got a couple of tracks written down, but I didn't. No, fuck it. I'll just get the lot.
Yeah,
I would.
I'm going to re-listen to that. I've not listened to it all the way through for quite a few years, and yeah, I think it's long overdue, to be honest.
Yeah, certainly sounds like it's a worthy addition to the list, even though it's not on my one. Although I think I've rather given away why it isn't, because yeah, too many songs on there that I am not familiar with. Right, so we get to my number 5. Yeah, this was a really difficult choice. The first 4 I knew, oh yeah, they're definitely going on. The 5th one, it could have been one of fuck knows how many. But eventually I settled for Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Now let's start with the negative. I'm not a big fan of the cover. I think Derek Riggs went a bit too surreal on the. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got a print of the full cover on there, but I do like the cover when it extends off and you've got all the old Eddies made out of ice in the background.
and the icing, yeah.
I couldn't find a decent enough image of that. I did have one. I tried to blow it up and it was so crap I deleted it.
No, okay.
I had the tape one for this, so it wasn't much bigger than what you see there.
I had this on LP. I always bought albums on LPs. Well, until I started buying CDs. I never bothered with tapes.
No, I got them all again. Once I got a hi-fi system, a record player. I went and bought. I think it was the first 8 or 9 albums again. I think up to Fear of the Dark. I went and bought them all on vinyl again. So.
Where do I start with this one? Well, let's start with the production. I think this has the best production of any metal album I have ever heard. I think it is that good, especially the drum sound. They got the drum sound perfected.
Yeah, I think he tuned his snares up a bit higher. Nico McBrain did for this. Slightly higher pitch to the snare drum, which really, really worked well in this.
Yeah.
Well, imagine being 16 years old. If you can think back that far, like I have to.
I'll just about make it. Yeah.
All right, think back to being 16 years old, 1988, in about September, lying to your mum with a couple of mates, saying we're all staying around Dean's house because Dean's mum and dad didn't have a fixed landline, and then queuing up outside Hammersmith Odeon for tickets, and then come the December, being 3 rows back from Iron Maiden at the first gig you've ever been to. That was me.
And that was for this tour, was it?
Yeah, on the 7th tour.
Jealous.
Yeah. My first metal gig was Bolt Thrower at the Marquee. It was supported by My Dying Bride, who I can't stand, but at least the headline band were good.
That was my second gig.
Oh, well, Bolt Thrower.
Bolt Thrower, Axe Grinder and Maniac at the Fulham Ground.
that's not a bad lineup, yeah.
I had one opportunity to see Maiden, and I had the tickets. It was Maiden and Halloween, who I'm also quite a fan.
Oh, fucking what a lineup that is!
And I think it was Monsters of Rock, actually.
Oh, Castle Donington.
Yeah, and I ended up in hospital. So yeah, I didn't get. So my mate had my tickets and told me how amazing it was once I was out of hospital. So.
Yeah, not unfortunately amazing for the 2 kids that got crushed during Guns N' Roses, I suppose.
Oh, they were playing there as well.
Yeah,
okay, so well, maybe
it might not have been
so
that
great after all.
It might not have been that one. I mean, we're going back a long time.
Yeah,
now.
it was the 88 one, wasn't it? It was it? Oh, I don't know. Which one are you on about? Which year
this was in the 90s.
I thought you was talking about 88. Yeah, sorry. Carry on. No one died after that.
Yeah, no, and Guns N' Roses were definitely not on the lineup. But I was going to see Maiden and Halloween then. And yeah, sadly it didn't happen for me. But
yeah, hopefully we can keep the Guns N' Roses content to no more after this. I fucking hate them.
Yeah, I wasn't no hurry to see them. So yeah.
I'm not going to say anything. I was just referring to I got to mention Slayer as a support act, so.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can mention Slayer all you like, but yeah, Guns N' Roses.
What about the Killer Dwarfs?
I'd probably listen to them more than Guns N' Roses.
Well, they were Maiden support on the 7th tour. That was another moment when they were on stage. The singer Russ Dwarf had this pair of braces on, and they got caught by the audience, and he was across the stage with these. If the audience had let go on him, he would have gone to hospital. But they ended up in my pocket. They did. Me and my mate split them between us. But as we was watching the Killer Dwarfs play, we saw Steve Harris in his civvies, like in his jeans and jacket, stood off the side of the stage watching him. We're like, oh look, it's Harry. I was 16 at the time.
Okay. Right, let's bring up the old track list for this one.
Yep, there's quite a bit of artwork to look at for this one as well.
Yeah, we got a few singles from this.
And
Well,
this is another one that was on my list as well.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
right.
and mine
Where
too.
is? Oh, okay, right. So where was it on yours?
This will be number 2 on mine.
Okay, no, okay. All right, and where was it on yours, Panther?
Number 4.
All right. Well, Seventh Son is well in the lead at the moment, that's for sure. Okay, so Moonchild, what a way to get this album started. Fucking yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, you know what I was saying about Churchill's speech earlier on? Well, imagine that, but the same thing with Seven Deadly Sins. And this another one that will always, as soon as I hear that Seven Deadly Sins start, the old goosebumps start, because I remember being there when they did the same thing, right up until the drums kick in and Bruce starts singing. It's like a backing track and all the lights are swirling round. And then all of a sudden they just hit the stage with Bruce like wailing out "I Am He," the Bornless one, and it all happens, and it's just another one of them tracks for me. You know, a time and place track. You know, it takes me back.
Yeah, fucking fine song to do that with.
Oh yeah.
Then we get Infinite Dreams. Now, to be honest, when I first heard this, I didn't like it, but there's a stupid reason why I didn't. A schoolmate of mine, he was the one who actually not only got me into Maiden, got me into metal, you know, in general. He bought this album, I think it was a week or so before I got it. And he said, "Oh, I like Infinite Dreams," but he said, "It's the theme tune to a television programme." I was like, "Okay, which one?" And he said, "Yeah, it's the theme tune to Rockcliffe's Babies." And I thought, well, firstly, I fucking hate everything about that programme. It has a shit title, the programme itself is shit, and I hate the theme tune. But thankfully, when I did get the album and I listened to it, I was like, what the fucking hell was he talking about? That don't sound fuck all like it.
No, I've seen a bit of that recently. Someone gave me a DVD of the complete set of Rockcliffe's Babies, and I didn't put that on and think, "Oh, this sounds like Infinite Dreams."
Yeah. So I've no idea what the fuck he was talking about. So yeah, the first time I played it, I was sitting there thinking, "Oh no, it's this fucking thing." So I was thinking, I just want it to end. And then, yeah, when it did end, I was like, well, at no point did that ever fucking sound like that program at all. So yeah, then I started actually getting into it, and it does remind me a bit of Revelations from Peace of Mind, which is also the second song on the album. So, yeah, a great one. And then we get to the first single, Can I Play With Madness? If you want to maybe bring up the artwork for that one.
And a great intro to the song when it's just the a cappella harmonised singing.
And also, the video was one of the last ever appearances of Graham Chapman as well, of Monty Python fame.
I've never seen the video to it.
No,
I mean, I'm not big on promo videos at the best of times, so I might have to check it out just for that. I had no idea he was in it.
Yeah, it was one of his, like, he looks painfully thin in it, but it was one of the last things he did before he died, so not a bad way to go.
It's an unbelievably catchy song, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works, absolutely.
Yep, certainly can't fault that one.
Well, I know the next track is The Evil That Men Do, so I can stay on here and just flick to the image if you
Go
want.
on then, yeah, let's bring that up. The Evil That Men Do, I think, is the weakest song of the whole album.
I still think it's pretty catchy.
I mean, it certainly is a catchy song. I hate the chorus because, yeah, it falls into that, it's just the same thing repeated over and over again. And the title was too long for it to really work. It's not a chant as such. Although,
it works live, I can tell you that.
I was just going to say, yeah, I haven't heard it live, so it could well be that it does work then. But, yeah, it just doesn't quite do it for me.
I do like that artwork, though.
Oh, it is great. It's the best of the single artworks from this album. Well, it's not really saying a lot. I'm not a huge fan of much of the artwork from this sort of era, the whole Seventh Son album or singles.
Oh no, I've never minded it. I mean,
Yeah, I'd like it. I've
Yeah.
not seen this one before, but it's pretty good.
Well, I had this on 12-inch single, and the reason why I actually liked the single was because on the B-sides you had the updated versions of Charlotte the Harlot and the Prowler.
yeah, I've got.
So
a
you think
picture
about
of the
it.
single.
Two great songs to begin with. They've been re-recorded with Bruce's vocals and with the Seventh Son production and sound. Yeah, they are fucking good.
I discovered earlier on when I was looking through some Maiden stuff to make sure I was happy with my choices. I've got a set of 3 albums. I never got the box set because it was too expensive. And one of them is Best of the B-sides. And it's got all that on there, but it's got one missing. I'm pretty sure it was the 12-inch of Can I Play a Madness had a cover of Massacre by Thin Lizzy. It is by far and away one of the best cover versions I've heard of any song. The sound is absolutely massive. And it's not on that Best of the B-sides album, so I'm pretty sure I've got a homemade one somewhere I call Back of the Beast that's got all their B-sides on it. I'm going to have to try and find that or see if I can find it on YouTube and get hold of that song again. Short of that, I think I've got Can I Play a Madness in storage on 12-inch single. So, but that means poncing about, setting up a record player. Look, I own the song. I'll download it. It's simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have the 12-inch single of that, so I only had like the regular single. So I just had Black Bart Blues, which I didn't rate.
That's got a good sound as well. I mean, how can you not rate Nico at the end of that, pissing about doing his Idi Amin impression?
Well, I mean that's it. I mean it's a bit of a laugh, and it does have a good sound. But then everything that from this album all had a fucking great sound to it. Yeah, I just it's just them pissing about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, on to the next song, the epic, the title track.
Yeah, my favourite on the album.
It's not my favourite, but this was the first song I listened to where I realised that headphones were a really good thing. Because that bit in the middle section where the guitars go from side to side in the quiet bit after Bruce has done his talky bit about he of woman the seventh one and all that sort of stuff. The sound on it. I don't know what Martin Birch was on when he mixed this album, but it was some good. It was the good stuff. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I can't fault it. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's the best song on the album, well, not for me anyway. But it is fucking fantastic. Yeah. So what is it, Jim, then that you think makes it the best on the album?
Again, I like the way it's almost split into chapters. Different styles, different tempos. I mean, this is the first album they use keyboards in because somewhere in time they use synth guitars and synth basses.
Guitars,
yeah. And for me, that didn't work. But here they use keyboards, but they do them in a simple way. And I remember reading somewhere that they were literally doing it with one finger. Oh yeah, Steve did a bit, and he had one finger on the keyboard doing that. And then I think Adrian Smith did a little bit as well. But I think it works really well, and they use it quite a lot in the Seventh Son. And you got the fast, epic bits with the. I think they even changed the. Have a weird 5/4 drum time in one of them, one section of it, and then it flips over to the soft one with just the bass, synth strings, and the clean guitar sound. And then it goes back to the heavy stuff again. I just like the sort of musical story it tells.
Oh yeah, I mean that's archetypal prog rock sort of song structure, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, when they played it live, they had Michael Kenny, who was, I think he was Steve's bass tech, but he's also a keyboard player, dressed up as the Count, and out of one of the big icy things on the stage, up he rose, and he come out and he was playing the keyboard part. So that was the first time Maiden were a 6-piece. Yeah, I mean, at the time we kind of laughed at it because it was I don't know, I wouldn't say it was cringy, but it seemed a bit comedy theatre.
Was it a bit Spinal Tap sort of?
It was a bit Spinal Tap. But,
yeah, but it worked so well. They kept him on as the live keyboardist, didn't they?
yeah, they did. And I mean, they go on about your six, so many things of separation or whatever it is. My brother's wife, I suppose step cousin is the best way to put it. He's Ryan Van Poederoyen, and he played drums for the Devin Townsend project, and he's got a new band called Monolith. They're like a more modern sort of thrash band, a bit of shouting, a bit of singing. One of his mates who he talks to a lot on Facebook is Michael Kenny, and I haven't quite plucked up the front to say, I saw you with Iron Maiden, because that would be such a wanky thing to say to someone.
Yeah, it would be.
I became friends with Ryan because of the music he plays and that, because he's related to my sister-in-law, and so every now and again he puts up these pictures on Facebook of people like, oh yeah, I happened to bump into Mike Portnoy, the drummer for Dream Theater, and all these different things. I'm thinking, fucking hell, I know all these people just one person away. There's all these names that I've seen for the last 20 years on these albums, thinking, cool, he's a bit good. And now these people are commenting on the same things I'm commenting on Facebook.
Well, I remember when the album first came out, it didn't exactly receive a warm reception, did it, from critics and that. And I think the keyboards played not, the main part, but they certainly contributed towards it. And that's the sort of like almost snobbery that I really don't like.
Yeah, Queen had the same problem, didn't they?
Yeah, like it or not, keyboards can and often do work well in metal. Get used to it,
Yeah.
And this album does prove it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember someone. It does, like you were saying with your mate in Infinite Dreams. I don't know. Some people. I got the piss taken out of me on the bus because I had a Seventh Son T-shirt on. Someone in a load of Anthrax gear got on, and I remember an Anthrax Judge Dredd T-shirt, and he was like, "Oh, fucking Seventh Son, wanker," and I was thinking, yeah, okay. And I had the same thing. I remember being in Carnaby Street once, and I managed to pick up Ride the Lightning by Metallica for stupidly cheap money in one of the record shops, and I was looking at it. And this other my mate was looking at the song list and that, because we hadn't heard that one then. And some bloke come and he goes, because we had I had a big, on the back of my leather jacket, I had Iron Maiden I'd done in big silver letters, like the logo and that. And he goes, if you got Iron Maiden on your back, you'll love that, because it just sounds like Iron Maiden. And I remember thinking, well, that's not a bad thing for me. And I got home and I remember thinking, how the fuck does that sound like Iron Maiden?
Yeah, of all the Metallica albums that do not sound like Iron Maiden, Ride the Lightning is number one.
No.
That was my introduction to Metallica. The first Metallica song I ever heard was Fight Fire with Fire. What a fucking baptism that was.
Yeah, my first one was Battery.
Right, on to the next one. The Prophecy. I do believe, Panther, your favourite song.
That is my favourite song on this album. It's a undersung Dave Murray classic. Dave Murray don't write a lot of songs, but when he does, you get things like Charlotte the Harlot and you get things like The Prophecy.
Yeah.
I think it's an absolutely sublime track. It's the concept they went with this album works a lot better if you do know the lyrics, and the way Bruce spits the lyrics out of this of basically someone warning of doom and then no one listening. He's like, well, I fucking told you so. And it's got, I really, really like the acoustic guitar sound that plays the track out for like the last, 30 seconds or whatever it is. But it's what I would go to say is a beautiful piece of music.
Yeah. I do like those little triplets they do on the acoustic at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I can't add anything like that. I mean, yeah, it is a truly great one. And then it gets followed up by The Clairvoyant, which is my personal favourite from the album.
That's my second favourite.
I just think this song is fucking fantastic. I love the bass intro. I love the tempo change when you get to the chorus, which admittedly, takes a bit of getting used to. I know plenty of people who don't like this song for that reason. They don't like the tempo change in the chorus. I think it works fucking superbly.
Excellent.
Do you prefer the artwork now, since I gave you my take on it?
Well, I was going to mention that. See, I've got to admit, I'm still not a big fan of the artwork, and I just thought it was a bit stupid. And then when you came up with, I don't know, is that actually what it's meant to be, or is it just like your take on it?
That's my take on it. I thought with the clairvoyant, and he's looking behind, outwards, and the other way, I just assumed it was past, present, and future, which is what clairvoyance is all about, isn't it?
Yeah, that totally. Until you mentioned that,
yeah,
until you mentioned that, that was only just last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It had never occurred to me at all, and that's what it could well have been representing. And the more I think about it, I think that's got to be what it is.
Yeah, I say it's either that or it's clairvoyants are all seeing, so he's seeing in every direction. There's lots of eye motifs going on. So yeah, but that's the way I always viewed it, as it was past, present, and future sort of thing.
Yeah, I think the clairvoyant was actually written about a so-called clairvoyant woman, a famous one, Doris
Stokes.
Yeah. I think she died, and that's what inspired Steve Harris to write it.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was wondering whether she saw it coming or not.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Could she foresee her own death? And part of that comes across in the lyrics of the song.
Yeah.
Well, before we go back to the track list, there was one more live single from this album, and that is that.
Actually, was the version of the Clairvoyant they released, wasn't that a live version as well?
I think it had The Prisoner live on the B-side.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. I can't remember if the Clairvoyant was live or not.
I thought it was, but I didn't bother with the single of it. I had the album, so that was good enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we finish off with Only the Good Die Young. Yeah, great way to wrap up the album.
Yeah, Bring on a Gallop. End with a Gallop song.
Yeah.
Nice catchy chorus. Slightly repetitive, but it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Not quite as bad as the Evil Men do, though. But,
or as my brother-in-law sings when we're at work, the evil cat man do. He knows what it is, he's just an arse like that.
Oh, okay, all right. There's a few songs I do that too. Thankfully, I can't think of any offhand, so you're spared that.
That was hard work to stop that.
It's torturous having to do that. Okay, right, very much needed song from that album. So we go on to number 4. Well, we've already had Jim's with Brave New World, and we've already had mine with Power Slave. So
We've already had mine with Seven Son.
Okay, right. So we're on to number 3 then. So Jim, over to you.
Yeah. Killers, 1981.
Oh, that's my number 3 taken care of.
Right, yeah. This was the first Iron Maiden album I got hold of. In fact, my mate, when I was about 11, I think, he said, "Here, do you want to borrow these?" He had 2 cassette tapes. So I didn't have a record player. He had the Leather and Lace compilation, which had Marillion and a few other things like that on it. And Iron Maiden Killers. And this is what got me into the band in the first place. Contrary to a lot of people, I actually quite like Paul Di'Anno's voice. I don't like the person, but I liked his voice. And this, after listening to the production quality after their debut album, this went up 100-fold production quality as well. And I think that's, I don't think the first album was actually professionally recorded. I think it was done in a sort of makeshift studio. But it's my first intro to Maiden. I listened to it all in the wrong order because he gave it to me with side 2 rewound. So I thought the title track was the first song on the album. An absolute stonker of an album for me. It sort of defined their sound, apart from the vocals, obviously, but it defined the music sound.
Yeah, I think Paul Di'Anno is very underrated for his work on this album. He proved on Prodigal Son, the acoustic track, that he could actually really sing.
Yes.
Aside from anything else, there's quite a few of my favourites on this one. I'll flick back to the...
bring out the old playlist.
It's also it's possibly my favourite Eddie as well on Killers. I know I've got like the Trooper on everything, but I literally one of my favourite Eddie is the Killers Eddie because he looks maniacal, evil, and downright fucking scary.
Yeah, and he was my first Eddie as well. So.
I think a lot of people, they consider the Killers Eddie to be the classic, of the lot. Right, shall I make myself very unpopular?
Yeah, you don't like it, do you?
I don't rate this album. I just cannot get into it.
Well,
I know exactly what. I just can't get into Paul Di'Anno. For me, Bruce Dickinson, he is that much better that even though he's not the original singer, it just doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, I prefer Bruce Dickinson's voice to Di'Anno's, but I think Di'Anno's voice suited the songs on this track, on this album. Sorry,
it certainly was. Certainly, I agree with you as far as a debut album goes. I don't think Bruce's voice would have worked at all on that one. With this one, I don't know what it is about it. I just can't get into it.
I am quite a fan of this album.
Yeah. Well, let's go through the track listing then. So, the Ides of March, for all there is of it.
Yeah, a little intro track.
Also known as Thunderburst by Samson as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he coached a bit of the Samson track, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I think the drummer for Samson and Clive Burr were actually mates, and I think they traded a few bits and pieces here and there. But yeah, it's a great intro to an album.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, some
even
good
I can't
drumming
argue
on
with
that.
that. All right, so then we go on to Wrathchild, which I'm not a fan of.
That's my favourite track on the album.
Go on, mate.
Sorry.
I was going to say that's still a staple they play live today. Still, you know, Bruce normally introduces it as something from our Jurassic period.
He does. And I'm sorry to say, I think Paul Di'Anno sang this better than Bruce, and I've heard Bruce singing it on live albums loads, and it's just, the song is tailored more for Paul Di'Anno's voice.
Yeah, see, I find that with the exception of a couple of Blaze Bayley tracks, I kind of prefer the Maiden songs sung by their original singers, because they were tailored, especially on this album and the first album, because Paul Di'Anno had a hand in writing a lot of the songs. So, which means he wrote a lot of the lyrics, which means he wrote them around his voice, so they were made to fit.
Yeah.
So when I was saying earlier about the B-sides to the Evil White Men Do, the versions of The Prowler and Charlotte Harlot, do you prefer the originals then to the re-recorded ones there?
That's a difficult question, because they're recorded different. They're recorded with a Seventh Son sound, and the Seventh Son sound has Bruce Dickinson. So I'd put them on an equal footing because they were recorded for what was there at the time.
My views. I don't like the quality, the production quality of the debut album at all. It sounds like it's been recorded in a lavatory cubicle. Yeah,
I mean, there's no denying that the production of the debut is pretty terrible, but thankfully the songs for the most part more than make up for it. So, you know, it's certainly not a dead loss. I thought it was a great debut. I can tell you now it's not on my 5, but it was a good debut album, certainly. Okay, let's move on to the next song then. Murders in the Rue Morgue. I mean, is there any metal fan that doesn't know this one?
Well, that's probably my favourite on the album.
And that was one of the few on this album that was actually written for the album rather than written previously and shoved onto the album. I think obviously based on the Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah. But this was actually recorded at the written at the time of recording this album. I think the other one was Purgatory.
Well, that became the single.
Yeah.
Well, I think it may be a classic that everyone knows, but I think that's a good choice for a song to play an extract from, isn't it?
Oh, exactly, because the intro has that bit after the acoustic bit where it's basically someone saying, "My name's Clive Burr, and I can do a drum roll."
Yes.
Right, let's have a bit of this.
I want to test the theory, which is going to be a pain in the arse for you to edit, but you've got to edit it, not me.
Cheers.
prefer Paul Di'Anno singing it, I think.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I agree with that. I think it's too low in pitch for Bruce's range. He wants to go up higher. And
I'll tell you one thing, the intro to that, that would not be out of place on a Led Zeppelin album.
No, it wouldn't, would it?
no.
Yeah, I have to reluctantly agree. Yeah, it suits Di'Anno's voice far more than it does Bruce's. Okay, on to Another Life, which, to be honest, I don't remember very well.
Musically, I like this. The tune's good. The instruments playing good. The lyrics are your worst nightmare. It's pretty much recycle the same sentence. I was naked lying in my bed. Sweet voices coming to my head. I got to get away. I think it doesn't get much more in depth than that, does it, Panther?
No, not really. It's pretty much. When I used, the first verse is the last verse. I think there's one other verse in the middle, but yeah, musically, it's absolutely fine as long as you can switch off to the lyrics, which fortunately, in a lot of cases, I can.
Yeah,
I'm more about the music than the sound than what they're actually saying. As long as as long as they're not bleating on about God or deep politics and that, and trying to influence which way I think and vote. I don't care what they're singing about normally. So. Yeah.
I think that's partly to do with the amount of prog rock that we all listen to, because, the last thing you want to do is pay a lot of attention to the lyrics in prog rock songs. So, especially if you listen to Yes, which I do. Blocking out lyrics is something I have no problem with.
Yes.
Yeah, talking of no lyrics.
Okay, Genghis Khan. So, this is this an instrumental one?
Oh, yes. It's a great instrumental as well. Also, because you're going to fucking moan at me about editing. The main riff of this song, Papa Roach nicked it and used it for their hit single Last Resort. I'm not going to play them both because I can guarantee you don't own a Papa Roach album.
Shockingly, you're right. Yeah, I don't know how you do it, but yeah, you got it spot on.
But they basically it's the same riff. The end of the last riff from Genghis Khan is basically the chorus riff to Last Resort by Papa Roach. Papa Roach are good at doing that. I think they've got another song that sounds like Prowler as well, so you know what their influences are.
Okay, right, yeah. Are they fans, or are they friends with Paul Di'Anno by any chance?
I don't think they're friends, but they're probably fans of the music.
Okay. All right, and then on to Innocent Exile.
That's a great name for an anaconda, by the way.
Well, let's hope that we've got plenty of Elite Dangerous players who are watching this. They might know.
He was on about his pet snake.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's another good track. A lot of people would call it a throwaway track because of things like Rothschild and Murders in the Rue Morgue, but then the same people that would call the Middle of Power Slave filler. It's another good song.
It's not my favourite on the album, but it's perfectly listen toable. I wouldn't class it as filler.
Yeah, no, nor would I. It opens up with a line, "My life is so empty, I've nothing to live for," and it goes on from there. I think Paul Di'Anno probably got into a lot of trouble with the police when he was younger. There does seem to be a theme with some of his songs that he's written.
Yeah, I think that didn't stop after he left Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I was going to say, anybody who had the drug habit he had, he was very familiar with police procedures.
He's been in a wheelchair for the last few years, hasn't he?
He's supposed to be doing his last ever show soon. I don't know if that was last year, if he managed to fit it in before all the music thing stopped. But he's retiring because he can barely stand up anymore.
Fucking hell.
I'll give him his credit though. As big an arse as he can be towards Bruce Dickinson and that, if you catch him completely straight and sober in an interview, he said in the History of Iron Maiden documentary they released a few years ago that Bruce was by far the best thing to happen to Maiden. And even though when people in his audience ask him about Bruce Dickinson, he threatens to kill them normally. When Bruce got his cancer diagnosis, Paul Di'Anno was one of the first people on stage to wish him well and genuinely mean it. So I think he's not as a big an arsehole as he makes out. I think a lot of it is front for his stage persona.
So he's the who's that gaming cunt that I can't stand? Dave, what's it?
I don't know.
No, I can't.
I don't want to say any names.
The one that Mainmeister has interviewed a couple of times. One of the last blokes on the
Dave
12
Perry.
hour. That's it, yeah. You know, it sounds a bit like, yeah, Paul Di'Anno is the Dave Perry of the metal world to me.
Well, see, the thing is, I've never actually spoke to Paul Di'Anno, so I don't know. Dave Perry is actually a nice bloke, but yeah, he has got that persona. So yeah, it might well be.
Mm.
Yeah, I sent Chris Lucosa a picture of what Paul Di'Anno sort of looks like now. Compared with how he used to look in the early 80s, he does look like he was probably at the American Capitol dressed in sort of dressed in, you know.
Well, I mean,
hammy gear and loaded up with assault rifles.
Yeah, I mean that's what Paul Di'Anno looked like in the early 80s. You know, he was, you know, I suppose from a male perspective, I don't fancy him, but he was probably a fit young boy.
Yeah, and I've got one of him now actually. Let me see if I can find it.
The old preparation went well, didn't it?
No, I've got it. All right, how do I share my screen on this?
Right, just fucking hell.
Oh yeah, I've got it. Share screen.
Alright, there we go. I'm just waiting for it to show up. And it isn't. Maybe I have to close this one before it shows up. Nope.
You should have a line of them across the bottom.
Yeah, I've got a line here, but there's only the 4.
This wants me to go into my system preferences and all that guff.
Oh, fucking hell. You know what? We're not that fussed about seeing him.
No. I can completely understand that.
Yeah. Right, well, let's move on into the title track then, Killers. And even though I'm not a big fan of the album, I don't mind this one.
No, me either. This was a surprise when I saw Maiden on the 7th tour of the 7th tour. This is one of the 2 surprise tracks they played. Because obviously we didn't have the internet back then, and Metal Hammer and stuff was like once a month, so you couldn't look up track lists and stuff like that. And they played, you know, something like "Can I Play Madness" or whatever. Then all of a sudden, the bass intro to Killers started, and like me and my mate, like we were next to each other, and the other 2 were like a bit further down. We just looked at each other and both said at the same time, "Fucking Killers!" It was fucking superb. And Bruce did do a good job on it. So,
oh, did he? Yeah, so that'd be an intro, a bit like Wrathchild.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got Made in England here. If you actually want to hear Bruce Dickinson sing a bit of that,
Go on, let's
mind.
Alright, so-called Killers, this one. Yeah. Give me some bad dreams, this one. He lunges, prepare for attack.
go. Bruce did that one live really well, I thought. Maybe it's because I weren't at that gig. I was at the one the week before, a couple of days before that one. But yeah, it was a surprise to have that live in a 7th tour set list. You know, well, I weren't expecting it.
No, I certainly wouldn't have expected anything from. Well, certainly not the title track anyway. One thing I noticed actually when you had that playing, a live show, but they really did have the Seventh Son sound absolutely captured perfectly for the live shows. And I think it is almost entirely due to the fact that they had the drums spot on. So I think what you were saying earlier, Jim, about the changes he's made to his snare, I think that is what was like the defining sound to it, and that's why it came across so well in that live show there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good album, Maiden. I've got both versions. I've got the original one, the old Sound and Vision one there, and I've got the newer one they released. Well, in 2000 and something, when they did did the remasters, and they added some of the tracks that were missing off the first one. Then they made it like a double CD rather than trying to stick it all on one.
Yeah, which is a much better idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go a bundle on live albums. I think I told both of you about that. But Maiden do pretty good live albums. I mean. I guess I should have said this at the start, but we are only choosing studio albums, no compilations, no live albums. If we had included live albums, Live After Death certainly would have been, up for consideration. I
would have been on my list, Live After Death.
Yeah, I mean, if we could have picked one live album, I would have probably guessed that you two would have picked Live After Death, and I'd have picked On Vivo, the live album that come out on the Final Frontier tour, because that's got a really fucking good sound to it as well.
All right.
Yeah, obviously you've got all these albums, haven't you, Chris? Because you're going to need the songs for editing, aren't you?
Yeah, and it means I'm going to be doing a damn sight more fucking editing than I thought I was going to, and we're not even halfway. Cheers for that.
That is, don't you?
Yeah. Just wait till the next Sid video. Look out for how many fucking bonus tracks I'm adding to that one.
That's all right. I love recording, Sid. Bring it on. And fuck you very much.
Yeah. Right. On that note, Prodigal Son. Here we go.
Lovely track. It's clean guitar, and Paul Di'Anno's singing it, quite nice and softly. He's got a lot of depth to the lower range of his voice, which Bruce doesn't really have in his lower registers. But then obviously he doesn't sing a lot in his lower register. But this one's really good. I like it, really like it. Very atmospheric, and this and Killers are one of the sort of first songs I try to learn on the electric guitar, which I got at about the same time as I got this album.
Yeah, this one's a favourite of mine. It was Maiden's first kind of foray into acoustic strumming. And to be honest with you, because I'd started with Seventh Son, I bought the albums on that weekend, like minus Somewhere in Time, like I said, and I thought, well, I'll start at the beginning. I put them into date order, and I put the debut in, and I was like, who the fuck's that singing? Because I didn't know. I had no idea whatsoever. All I know was Bruce Dickinson from the inside of the Seventh Son tape cover. And I was like, who the fuck? And then I listened to Killers, and again, it was like, who is this? And the tapes that I had then were the old, they had like on the Fame label, and they had like next to no information on the inside. So it took me a while to figure out what was what. It was only when I was looking at the credits for writing, and I see the name Di'Anno on a lot of the first two album tracks. I was thinking, well, that's the only name that's different. That must be the singer. I wonder who this Di'Anno bloke is. And I found out a few weeks later on, I bought the VHS copy of Iron Maiden 12 Wasted Years that come out in 1987, like a documentary, and Paul Di'Anno has interviews. And then I found out that the proper history of Maiden and that a few weeks later. But yeah, I was totally confused. I thought I'd been given the wrong tape to start with.
Yeah, you couldn't have got sort of two more contrasting vocalists, but then they both suit the songs they sing.
Do you know this song, Chris?
I know it. I can't say I'm a fan of it, to be honest with you.
Well, fair enough.
Okay, well, on that note, let's move on to Purgatory. The single.
That one.
There we go. And, well, I'm sure we all know the story about what the original cover of this single was going to be.
Do we?
Please tell me you do. Okay.
I might do.
The original artwork that was done became the cover of Number of the Beast.
Right, yes, I do know the story then, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the manager took one look at it and decided, no, this is far too good for a single. And to be honest, he's quite right. It was far too good. Not to say this is not a good cover. I mean, it's, yeah, decent enough. It's not Number of the Beast, though.
No, it's not. Pretty good song as well, as it goes.
Considering I'm not a big fan of the album, yeah, I think this is all right, yeah.
Yeah, and of course after this one, you've got the one I just put up, which was Twilight Zone, which wasn't on the original English release.
No, I didn't have Twilight Zone on my copy.
Yeah, they released a single, but it weren't on the album, unless you bought in America or Japan, I think.
Yeah.
Which seems a strange thing to do. That's not a bad song either. That's a very different sounding song for Maiden.
Yeah, I didn't have it on the version of the Killers that I had, and yeah, I have heard it since. It's not really my sort of thing.
No. No, we are on this album. We are stretching for things that will be your sort of thing.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, I think so. And then we finish with Drifter,
Which I really like as well.
I like it, really like it as well, and I like the ending as well.
Yeah.
I know it ends with a yow, classic Paul Di'Anno yow, but
to be honest, I found him doing that. I found that a bit irritating.
Yeah, but it inspired Cat from Red Dwarf, so it's not all bad.
Yeah. Yeah, on that note, right, shall we move on then? Okay, so it's on to my number 3 then. And I'll be surprised if this doesn't appear on at least one other list. So we're going from Killers. Yeah, we're going on a long way from here. In fact, we're going as far from here as we can. We're going all the way up to Top of the Shot, the Book of Souls.
Yep, that's my number 2. I'm actually really surprised you've got that on your list. I know it's my fault.
Yep. Absolutely down to you, this one. Let's just right. Yeah. I freely admit, by the time this came out, I'd stopped listening to Maiden. I was pretty stupidly narrow-minded when it came to metal, and it was like, if it's not death metal or black metal, I don't want to know. Which, yeah, I freely admit, what a fucking moronic attitude to have. And it meant that I completely missed this for a long old while. Because this came out in, was it 2016, wasn't it?
2015, yeah.
15. And the first time I heard... Actually, I heard... what was the single?
Speed of Light.
That's it, yeah. I heard that around the time that the album came out. And I remember thinking, yeah, that's not bad. And then completely forgot all about it. And then, during last year, you were sending me songs and basically saying, you've got to listen to this. And every single time I would listen to it, I'd be thinking, this is fucking fantastic. And I ended up getting the album, and it doesn't disappoint in any way, shape or form.
Hence why it's at my number 2 position. You know, it's another one where I saw them live on the tour of the album.
Yeah, I would imagine this must have been a fucking decent tour here, because you have got some seriously amazing songs on this one.
Well, if you want to see what they played on the tour, there you go. Look at that lot for a list of songs.
Blimey.
Yeah, that's yeah. That is not a bad lineup at all.
No, the only song they didn't play was "Hello Be Thy Name" because there was a legal tussle with the family of the bloke that wrote some of the original lyrics that Harris used, and he had verbal permission for it. And of course, that bloke died. His family think, "Oh, there's a quid or two in this."
Yeah.
So Maiden said, "Oh, we won't play it," and they settled it. However, they settled it out of court, I believe. But yeah, I think it's well and truly back in again now.
And deservedly so.
Yeah.
So, right, let's go through the song list here. If Eternity Should fail. What a intro to an album this is. This really is an epic. And I say that, despite, I mean, this is an album that is full of epics.
Yeah, this is epics all the way near enough.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've got to admit, I was like you. I listened to it probably a couple of years ago when I first got Spotify, and I was like, yeah, I like this album. I really need to listen to it properly when I'm not like driving or working, and I forgot all about it. So,
yeah. Yeah, it's surprising. There are a lot of people I know who are metal fans, and yet you mentioned this album, and very few of them actually know it.
Went straight in at number one.
I see. I mean, it fucking sold well, and deservedly so. But yeah, I don't know a huge number of metal fans who are overly familiar with it. So you know, if there is going to be an album on this list that people aren't that familiar with, it's going to be this one. But I mean, I'm pretty sure most people will at least know a good few of them.
Well, you'd hope so if they're watching a Maiden vid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, let's go on to Speed of Light then. The single, I thought it was a great choice for a single. It's
good bit of cowbell at the beginning as well.
Yeah, it's a fantastic song. This, I'm a big fan. I do think the video is, shall we say, a bit cheesy.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I mean, there's actually a I don't know if it's still online. There's actually a web-based 8-bit style game. That's a bit like Donkey Kong, the Speed of Light.
Yes, I remember you sent me the link to it, and it is still working. Yeah, I played it a few times, and I wish
I could download it and put it on my arcade cabinet.
Oh, yeah, that would be good. As long as it doesn't have the same ending. Right, and then into The Great Unknown. Yeah, we're on to another classic one here, another real epic. Yeah, I mean, what can you say?
Yeah, the build-up of sound on that is it's outrageous almost. It's really good.
And then we go to one real monumental classic, The Red and the Black. And I think this was the first one you sent me, and it was this, and well, the other one will come to when we get to it on the track listing. But yeah, those two, they were the ones that convinced me, right, I've got to get this album. And it's one of those, it's very much a prog rock sound, and it's another one where, okay, it's nearly 15 minutes long. It sounds like you're listening to it for like 5 minutes. It just absolutely races past. It's just fantastic. Simple as that.
It is. It's a great song. So much so that for a while they even, I don't know if it's still going, they named one of their offshoots of Trooper The Red and the Black. I think it was a slightly stronger version or something.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with that.
Well, you don't drink beer.
No, that's true. 10 years now.
Oh,
there
well
are times when I really feel it as well. There we go to When the River Runs Deep, which I got to admit, I think this is probably the weakest song on the album for me.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. I mean, it's not bad.
No, but it's not a bad song.
It's not a bad song, but it's not up there with some of the others.
No. Then we get to the Book of Souls, the title track.
I remember sending you that one, and I remember your response was something along the lines of, fuck me, that's from Power Slave.
Yeah, it really does have, well, for me anyway, that sort of Power Slave sort of feel to it. Again, the prog rock influence. I would say this is second to Power Slave as far as the best title track that they did.
Yeah, that's quite high praise indeed.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I can't say it's better than that, but I mean, being better than Power Slave, as far as I'm concerned, only one Maiden song has ever managed to do that. So, yeah. All right, then we go on to the second disc, Death or Glory. Yeah, that's quite a way of getting the second disc underway.
Yeah, that's a nice quick number. But when they play it live, Bruce puts a silly pilot's hat on and does actions to climb like a monkey and stuff like that.
Ah, okay.
Oh, bless him.
It's comical.
Does he still put the mask on when he does Power Slave?
I believe he did, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
For the very beginning of it.
Okay, all right, so he likes his mask and his headwear then, does he? There we go. All right, into Shadows of the Valley. Yeah, you know, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but it's another fucking great epic song.
This album is full of great. This album is 75% great epics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to have another listen to this, I think.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, you're really missing out on something fucking amazing with this one. Tears of a Clown. I think that's the shortest song on the album, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. As far as I know, that's a song written about Robin Williams committing suicide, and just a commentary on how there's a lot of people that make people laugh that are not always quite so happy and jolly themselves. And it's just like a commentary on that. It's an interesting subject for a song. It's a bit of a downer, I suppose, but
yeah, it's rare for metal to be choosing such a depressing subject matter. But there you are,
raising awareness.
Yeah. And then we get to The Man of Sorrows. The only reason why I don't find this one all that memorable is because of what comes after it. But it's certainly not a bad song.
no, I mean, there's no bad songs on here. Like you say, When the River Runs Deep is probably the weakest.
Yeah.
And this is probably on a par with that, if maybe a little bit better.
I think it is a bit better than When the River Runs Deep. But I say yeah, it doesn't stick in my head because after it you get Empire of the Clouds, which is just
and also their longest single.
Yeah.
For Record Store Day in 2016, I think that was.
So is it the full 18-minute version on the single then?
Yeah.
I
haven't got it, but
What's that, sorry?
Little tribute to Led Zeppelin there on the.
Well, the song is about the
R101, isn't it? Yeah.
The disaster, that which ended Britain's airship industry.
Yeah. Yes. If you know the history and the story of the R101, you can see that it was fucking doomed to failure from the moment they first started building it.
Similar to the Hindenburg, then.
It was farcical. The Hindenburg was a masterpiece in comparison. In fact, the reason the Hindenburg crashed was largely due to the Americans. They wouldn't give the Germans the helium, they wouldn't sell the helium to the Germans, so they had to use hydrogen. And woof.
See, the R101 gets overlooked by the Hindenburg because the Hindenburg was filmed blowing up, whereas this one wasn't.
Yeah. All you've got is film footage of the wreckage. But I mean, the song itself, it's 18 minutes of just Maiden being fucking phenomenal, really.
And Bruce Dickinson playing the piano. It's a Bruce song, so
yeah.
And he plays the piano at the beginning of it for quite a time as well, and in a non-shit way. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it's a real sort of Bruce Dickinson sort of well for lack of a better term, vanity project. It's sort of like a real, it gives him the chance to really shine, as if, he didn't already have plenty of such opportunities to begin with. But in this one, he really pushes the boat out. If there is only one song off this album that you listen to, it's got to be that one.
Yeah.
Did they put that in the live set? Oh, sorry, Panther.
I don't think they had it in the live set. It's a bit long. I don't remember. I don't think they did. No,
it's not there.
Oh, okay.
You can fit 5 other songs in that time.
I thought he might do a sort of Elton John and sit at the piano for the
Elton Dickinson. Well, what do you want to blast off then, Luke?
Right. Well, let's start with the first single. Give us a blast of Speed of Light, because this is such a great song. This. That is a painful.
It is.
Having to stop that one.
I remember reading. I can't remember what it was. I think it was an internet review, because I haven't bought Metal Hammer for quite some time now. Where someone was saying, Bruce Dickinson's voice is starting to sound a bit old and a bit tired. Failing to notice that when he sang that, he was 57 years of age, and he also had 2 golf ball sized tumours in his neck.
Yeah,
and his throat.
He did this album while he had fucking throat cancer, and he can sing like that. And even if this had been recorded, say, 20 years earlier or something, I think his singing sounds fucking fantastic in this album. So, I think whoever it was who wrote that is a fucking dickhead.
I would have said cunt myself, but
Okay, actually you're right. Cunt works much better. What a fucking cunt that was.
I mean, you can tell his voice has deepened with age, but he can still hit the notes when he needs to.
Yeah.
But nothing wrong with that at all.
No, I think when he left Maiden for a while and he was doing his own thing, he did a couple of albums that, although they were still rock, weren't as apart from the song Tears of the Dragon, weren't that as taxing on his voice. And then
did he do one with Mr. Bean?
I Want to Be Elected. It was a comic relief song, wasn't it? The Alice Cooper cover.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of the existence of that one. Yeah,
he done 2 albums. He done Accident of Birth and The Chemical Wedding, both of which featured Adrian Smith, which was kind of like his return to metal. And I think because he'd looked after his voice, I don't know if he got some training or something like that. When he come back to Maiden for Brave New World, his voice sounded better than ever. And the 5 albums they've done so far since they've been back, I've got no complaints about Bruce Dickinson's voice at all. He's better than ever. All right, he's not going to sound like he did on, the early Samson albums and Number of the Beast, because he's not 23 anymore. He's 57 when he recorded this.
And he's doing a lot of touring. That plays havoc on your voice.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need another burst of his singing from this album, so we've got to play some of Empire of the Clouds. Pick a bit from, well, somewhere in the middle of it, and yeah.
I'll start it playing, and I will aim for over the D of where Speed of Light, the edge of this BBC Archives thing.
Okay,
We'll try that
right, there
bit.
we go, yeah.
Fighting the windows in you, feeling the beers as the bunch you alone, watching the channel below you, lower and lower into the light, lights are passing below you, golden lamps asleep in their beds, storm is raging around you, a minute to one, that's what he said. Redman standing beside her, one inside, constant abode, having to make a decision. Experience fear, sleeping and wait. The color is left and she's drowning. Rain is flooding into the hole, bleeding to death and she's falling. Living gas is draining away.
He does sing on that, honestly.
Yeah, so yeah, he does sing there. I can guarantee it. Yeah, for the sake of the people watching, yeah, I'll edit in a different bit so you can actually hear him sing. Yeah, take a must though, Jim. Yeah, he does sound good in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic album. I mean, you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not metal anymore; it's prog." Yeah, well, it's prog metal. You know, that's when I remember around about there's the album Matter of Life and Death, the Final Frontier, and this. Steve Harris said this is the sound he always envisioned for Iron Maiden when he first started, because he was into Jethro Tull and Wishbone Ash and you know, Thin Lizzy, you know, a lot of the twin lead guitar sounds from the 70s. That's what he was into. So he was always wanting to do prog. That's why things like Phantom of the Opera and Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, these great long sweeping epics, because that's what Steve Harris is about.
Yeah.
So basically, if you don't like it, fuck off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We can go so far as say if you don't like it, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Right, well that's right. We're up to number 2 then. Okay, this is where we get into the real business end of things. So right,
I don't have
Jim.
a number 2 now. I've only got a number 1.
Okay, what your number 2 was?
That was, I think it was Seventh Son, actually.
Okay, right, and we've had Panther's number 2 because we've just done it. That was Book of Souls. So we're
indeed.
straight back to my one again. Right, okay, my number 2. I can't believe this hasn't appeared so far. Dickinson's debut, Number of the Beast.
That's my number 1 gone, isn't it?
Alright, let's just... Alright, we'll take it away while I just tally this up.
Well, what an album! What an album!
What an album. If I was on a desert island for the rest of my life and I could have one album, it'd be this one.
Well, I certainly wouldn't have any complaints. It's not on my list, but that's because number 3, where I had Killers, there was about 7 albums I could put there. So I was trying to do something different, and you had it anyway, Jim.
I mean, it's not quite flawless, but it is pretty fucking close. There isn't a single bad song on this album, I don't think. Obviously, you know, some are better than others, but even the worst song on the album I still think is fucking good. Production-wise, yeah, especially for 82, it was like, you know, the archetypal metal sound. Well, certainly British metal. And the cover, yeah, the cover has gone down in history as, you know, possibly the archetypal, you know, heavy metal cover. When people think of heavy metal album covers, they almost always think this.
And this album was famous for being burned in bonfires in America because they thought it was all about Satanism.
And they run away from the smoke, didn't they, in case they got possessed?
Oh, fucking hell. What was the song they did where they were basically taking the piss out of it? And I think at the start of it,
we may well come to that later.
Oh, okay, right, all right, okay. We'll do that one later. Okay, let's bring up the track listing for this one. I mean, let's also get the obvious out of the way. If you're watching this video and you don't know this album, then what the fuck are you doing here? Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
This was the first heavy metal album I had. And I think it's a pretty good fucking introduction to the music genre.
No, it's not a bad start at all. On my day of tape listening, I breathed a sigh of relief when I got to this one because at least I knew some of the stuff on this album where I didn't really, apart from Running Free, I don't think I knew much on the first 2 albums when I first heard them. But yeah, this is just wall-to-wall classics.
Yeah.
And also, I know we're going to get there in a minute, because this is the 98 reissue. I've also got the version that's got Total Eclipse on there, which is an overlooked classic.
Yeah. So, right, we'll start off then with the album intro, Invaders, which doesn't get a very good press, and I'm fucked if I know why.
It's a great track.
It is. It's a fantastic song. I don't know why there are so many people who put it down. And let's face it, including some of the members of Maiden themselves. They don't particularly rate it. I forget who it was. It might have been Harris.
Probably Nico McBrain, because he weren't on it.
Well, I think it's a great one. Great, you know, short, sharp burst, and you know, away you go. It
certainly sets out the stall of "We've got a new singer."
Yeah. So
and
yeah,
if that didn't, the next one certainly.
yeah, the
fucking
next
does.
one certainly does. Yeah, Children of the Damned. Okay, it's not exactly as one of the longest of the epics, but for me, it certainly is an epic. Yeah, I just fucking love that song. Isn't that a stalwart of the live playlists? Are they still doing that one?
They didn't play it for a while, and then when Clive Burr was diagnosed with MS, which would have been around sort of must have been sort of 2000 and 2003, 2004, that sort of time. They did a benefit gig and they played. I couldn't get tickets for it. They played a few nights. I think it was somewhere like Hammersmith, and all the money went to one of the multiple sclerosis charities and to Clive Burr himself. So they still looked after him. They never really fell out. He just kind of kept fucking up because he liked a party lifestyle, shall we say?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and they played it again then, and I mean they played it on the last tour I went on to see them. So, as it kind of went away and it kind of came back again. But what a great song! I mean, if ever there was a song that was written for Bruce Dickinson to say, "Yep, we've got a new singer. This is what he can do." Yeah. I think if I was Paul Di'Anno and someone played me "Children of the Damned" like when it come out, I would have cried into my beer and my cocaine. I really would have done.
I'll get me coat. He's going.
Yeah, he couldn't compete.
It's it's an absolute anthem. Children of the Damned must be awesome live. That one.
Yeah, I imagine. Then we get another one, The Prisoner. I say another one. I mean, they all are, aren't they? But The Prisoner again. Just
it's my brother's favourite Maiden song. Well, at least it was last time we spoke about Maiden.
Yeah, one of my favourites on the album. I think this has caused me to come close to the most amount of speeding tickets when I've been driving. But musically, especially in the chorus, when you got the first bit is one chord, and then it goes down to another chord. Not a free man, blah, 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 blah. But he's playing the same bass line over and over again, and he's not dropping that down with the chords, and it really works. Works fucking well, I think.
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming you know the story behind the intro to the song.
Well, it's the Patrick McGowan series, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they had to get permission to do it, and Rod Smallwood had to phone up Patrick McGowan himself.
Oh yes, I know. Yeah.
I'm going to paraphrase. I can't remember the exact conversation, but Rod Smallwood was like, "Hello, I'm not going to do the northern accent either." He goes, "Hello, we want to use part of your thingy for our song," and he goes, "Right, what's the song?" And he said, it's The Prisoner. It's a song kind of linked to the series and that. And Patrick McGowan goes, "What'd you say the name of the band was again?" And Rod goes, "Iron Maiden." And apparently Patrick McGowan went, "Okay, do it," like that, and just put the phone down. And that was the permission to use the cut from the series because he owned the rights to it.
Yeah. Classic Patrick McGowan.
Right, then we go on to 22 Acacia Avenue, the follow-up to Charlotte the Harlot.
The second in the trilogy.
Yeah. Flawless, absolutely fucking flawless for me.
Yeah, it's every time I hear it, I sing along. I absolutely love that song.
Yeah,
great lyrics, great music, great energy in the song.
All the way through. I mean, I think that's an Adrian Smith track, isn't it? That one.
It could well be.
I can't remember offhand, but it's it's an absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
track.
For me, it's the second best on the album, which tells you how good the first best must be.
Well, yeah, no arguments with that.
Yeah. Right, so we then go on to the Number of the Beast, and I've got to say, I think this is, believe it or not, the weakest song on the album. It's a fucking great song, but yeah, I think it's the weakest on the album.
I'd like to disagree with you. I quite like the Number of the Beast.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a great song. Don't get me wrong, but it's just that in comparison to the rest, it's not up there with the rest of them. Well, I will never say I think this song is, shit. It fucking well ain't.
I don't know. It's one of my favourites on the album, The Number of the Beast, and the big scream in the intro. It's a bit sort of Roger Daltrey-esque.
I was just going to say, it always makes me think of Roger Daltrey there.
Well, that's not a bad thing. That's not,
Yeah, so, yeah. If it's reminding you of Won't Get Fooled Again, then it's doing something right.
Yeah, not a bad piece of artwork either.
No, not bad at all, that, isn't it?
And yeah, another sort of recent reason I like it is because the Americans thought it was all about Satanism.
Yeah, see, I've always assumed, looking at the lyrics, that it was just about the film The Devil Rides Out, the Hammer film. I mean,
I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's got
Or The Omen. That had all that as well, didn't it?
Yeah, I think The Devil Rides Out is more. Yeah, I think it has more in common with that, which is a fucking good film as well, by the way.
Yeah,
It's my favourite Hammer film.
It's certainly up there for me. Yeah, definitely.
And then following that, I believe it's
It is. Yeah, a lot of people, who are not metal fans, but you say to a Iron Maiden, this is the song they all mention.
it's either this or Can I Play With Madness?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's probably become the definitive Iron Maiden classic. It is a fucking great song. There's no two ways about it. I did go through a phase where I got a bit sick of it because I was hearing it everywhere. And then, I forget what it was I was doing, but the song came on. I was listening to it and I was like, why am I sick of it? It's fucking great, I don't care if I'm hearing it everywhere. It's a fucking good song. So, yeah, I went through a very brief stage where I went off it because I was, hearing it all the time, but...
Have you heard Bruce Dickinson sing it live lately?
No, I can't say I have.
We'll get to that in a minute then.
Okay, right, yeah. That'll be a good track to...
I think that's all the artwork from that, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
They can overplay that as much as they want. I'll never get sick of it.
Right, and then on to Gangland, which is another one that gets a bit of a bad press, and it's another one where I'm fucked if I know why. I think this is fucking great.
Yeah, I mean, lines like face at the window, similar to your own, but it's only your reflection. I mean, and this, the only writing credit Clive Burr had. I mean, you kind of tell it was written by a drummer because of the intro, but...
yes. But, yeah. Jim, how would you rate this one?
Gangland, yeah, I put it in the same class as the Invaders. Bloody good songs, but to me, they're not in my top tracks of the album.
Okay, yeah, I mean, there are plenty of people who would say the same thing. I don't agree. I think it's up there with the best of them, but...
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm quite a fan of Gangland.
Yeah.
I've always liked it. I know when you listen to the lyrics, it kind of gives you a kind of. If I was to have a sort of an internal movie playing in my head while I was watching this, it brings up images of The Godfather and stuff like that, and that can't be a bad thing.
No.
And
Right.
following that,
and then we go on to Total Eclipse, which I remember seeing a couple of interviews. I'm trying to remember who it was with. It was either Smith or Harris, and they were saying, because they were a bit rushed when they did this album. They said if they had more time and they could have put more thought behind it, they would have put Total Eclipse on there instead of either Gangland or Invaders. Now, I think it's a good song. I wouldn't replace Gangland or Invaders with it.
No, I think it's a great song. I prefer it in this format where they're all on there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I'd rather have this format where we've got the lot,
I'm trying to record it. Can we have a quick burst of Total Eclipse?
We certainly
Yeah.
can. That was hard to do as well. I really am quite a fan of that song.
Yeah, I haven't heard that for a long time, and yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, wasn't that a B-side to one of the singles?
I think it was
Run
a B-side
to the
Run
Hills?
to Hills, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I had that 12 Wasted Years video, that Beast on the Road thing I played a bit of earlier on. They had clips from that show, which is now, you can get it on DVD now, but it wasn't available at the time. And my Number of the Beast tape was the original one with, 4 songs aside, job done, no Total Eclipse. But on 12 Wasted Years, there was a bit from the Beast of the Road where they played a bit of that, and it come up Total Eclipse. I'm like looking through my tapes, like, where the fuck is this? It's not on here. I've got the newest album. This was made before then, and it weren't until I bought it on CD, the remastered one. I actually had a full copy of Total Eclipse, so it was like a lost track for sort of like a good 10 years after I got into Maiden. I think '98 I bought a lot of the remasters. Because I didn't have them on CD, I thought, well, if I'm buying them on CD, I'll buy the new ones.
Yeah, yeah. I think that applies to a lot of people. Because for years the only way you had that song is if you had bought the Run to the Hills single. I didn't buy an awful lot of metal singles, and I didn't have Run to the Hills. So I wasn't familiar with it for a long time. But I think it's a great song. It really does fit the album well.
Yeah, definitely. And I wish it had been on there properly for the UK release.
Yeah, but not in place of Invaders and Go.
No,
or
I'll
Gangland.
take
Yeah,
all of
have it. Yeah, have it on there alongside it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we come to Hello Be Thy Name. For me, the best song on the album. This is just a fucking masterpiece. This.
Agreed. And even the sort of speaky intro is like the beginning of a Hammer film as well.
Yeah.
Even if one of the bells is slightly out of time.
Yeah, only a little bit though. Yeah, I'll give him credit for that.
I agree. It is not by far, but it is the best song on the album. Though for a long time, I used to not bother listening to this one. I skipped it off. I don't know why. If I got sick of it for whatever reason. And if you'd have asked me 20 years ago, I would have said, 22 Acacia Avenue, no question asked. But in recent years, I've really come back to love Hello Be Thy Name.
Yeah,
And
it's certainly between those two. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant song, and it's another Harris epic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's musically, it's so tight and clever.
I know on the Brave New World tour, there was a bit where they did at the end of Hello Be Thy Name, where Bruce held the last note, or the last part of the word name, for a ridiculously long time, and Nico McBrain would stand up and give him a round of applause from behind the drum kit. I think you can see that. I think you can see that on the Rock in Rio video. So if you haven't seen it, it's worth looking that up on YouTube or something.
Live version of Hello Be Thy Name. Yep, I'll look that up.
Yeah. So I suppose really, before we come off of Number of the Beast, we better have a me talking about Bruce being able to sing Run to the Hills really well now. I suppose I better put me
Go on in, put your money where your mouth is, sort of thing.
Well, now I'm going out on a limb here because this is their newest album that only come out a couple of months ago, and I've only listened to it once, so I might be picking the wrong one, but we'll see. I think he was 60 when he recorded that.
60-year-old man who had treatment for throat cancer, and he's singing like that.
Yeah, I'm glad I did remember it. It was that one that really stood out. I mean, he's sung it well for the last few tours where they've actually performed it. But yeah, I remember. I was sure it was that one that I'd heard recently. That I was like, I did it again there, like shook my head and said "fucking hell" because it's like, how does he do it?
That's incredible.
Stuff like that is why he is the greatest vocalist in metal, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. In fact, I'm not going to argue in the slightest.
There we go, Number of the Beast. So, we have number ones left. Well, except we've already done Jim's one. Right. Panther, hit us with it then. Your number one.
My number one is a bit like Highlander, because there can be only one.
This is mine as well.
This was my reserve one. This one.
I gotta be honest. I'm amazed it's not on your list there, Jim.
It was my reserve. This one. I love this album.
Yeah, it is as close to metal perfection as I think you're gonna get.
Yeah. This to my mind is the greatest album recorded ever in the history of music thus far. And I know, you know, people are go, oh, you know, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, like, yeah, they're absolutely fucking brilliant, but nothing comes close to this for me. This, I wouldn't say it's as close to perfection. For me, this is perfection, even with Quest for Fire.
Well, actually, we'll come to that when we're going through the track listing. So cover, I think it's Eddie's most maniacal looking.
In his padded cell chamber.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and it's got the it's still got the classic red and white Maiden logo. I mean, I don't know if you noticed on some of the newer albums, well, on Brave New World, I think it was from the Virtual 11 until the Final Frontier, or up to and including the Final Frontier, the spikes had gone off the bottom of the right end, so I had a flat line across there. That they were gone. Well, that came back for piss off. That's it. That came back for Book of Souls.
Book of Souls, yeah.
And hopefully they're sticking with it again now. But the red and white Iron Maiden logo is so iconic. I mean, all right, Steve Harris kind of robbed it from David Bowie's Man Who Felt Worth, but you know we'll let him off for that. But yeah, what a cover. I mean, I suppose I could have got the full version, but I was relying on someone having Summer in Time, so I got the full version of that instead.
I gotta be honest, I'm amazed Somewhere in Time hasn't appeared.
It was a toss-up between that and Seventh Son for my number 4th place. But
same with me for number 5. It was between Seventh Son and Somewhere in Time. And I was so convinced, someone else is bound to have Somewhere in Time, so I went with Seventh Son.
Yeah. But yeah, what a fucking album. I mean, I remember, even though Seventh Son was the first album I bought, this was the first Maiden album I heard. Now, I used to hang about, I won't go with surnames, I used to hang about with a kid called Dean. We were in loads of classes at school together. And there was a few of us that hung about together. And one guy bought Live After Death. And Dean's uncle Eric lent us a tape of Peace of Mind, and that done the rounds. And literally, I'm surprised I didn't wear Eric's tape out. I had it for about a week, and I shit you not, I must have played it at least 50 times. It was like on wherever I went, it was on my stereo for a week until I had to give it back or pass it on to someone else. And yeah, what a fucking album.
Yeah. This was the second metal album I bought. After Number of the Beast, I was thinking, well, any other albums I get from this lot have to be fucking great. So I bought it, and I was, a bit, is it going to be as good? Well, one way to find out. Yeah, I mean, Number of the Beast is, number 2 on my list. So yeah, it is fucking good. And this just took it to another level. It's
Yeah, the album opens up. Whereas the last album sort of opened up with, listen, we've got a new singer. Listen, we can do. This one was like, we got a new drummer, by the way.
yeah. Well, let's bring up the old track list then. And it opens up with my favourite Iron Maiden song of all time. Where Eagles Dare, I just think, is an absolute masterpiece. Flawless from start to finish. And yeah, exactly like you say, it was basically, we got a new drummer, we're going to let him do, or let him show you what he can do. And fuck me, did he show us.
Should we have a listen to what he could do?
Go on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
I think that is the first time I've had that song stopped without being played all the way through in about 25 years.
Yeah, you and me both, mate. that was willpower to the max, that was. I didn't have to use that much willpower when I stopped smoking.
I can't praise the song enough.
The film ain't bad either.
I'm not big on the film.
I knew you were going to say it. Why did I know you were going to say that?
No, I think the film's a bit shit, actually. But, yeah, the songboard makes up for it.
So if you notice in that, his snare was tuned exactly to how Clive Burr's was.
No, I didn't ever notice that.
But you can tell he's a different drummer because,
Yeah.
completely tell he's different. The use of the ride cymbal more than the hi-hat, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, he does a lot of tinglings, doesn't he, Nico?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as if, Clive Burr was a bad drummer. He fucking well wasn't.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
But Nico McBrain just...
Next level, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't believe he was unheard of. He was playing in a French metal band called Trust or something when he got the call from Maiden. He appeared as Eddie on one of their videos when Clive Burr weren't well, or one of their appearances. He had an Eddie mask on so you couldn't see it weren't Clive, and was sat behind the drum kit for one thing. And no one knew who he was when he joined Maiden.
Do you remember, was it Live After Death when Bruce is doing a bit of talking in between the songs? I think he mentioned that Nico McBrain used to drum for the Sooty Show or something like that, didn't he?
Have you never seen that clip?
No.
It's on YouTube. Obviously, we're not going to play it on here. There's a clip on YouTube of Nico McBrain on the Sooty Show, and what he does is they're talking to him, and you can see Nico's like, "What am I doing here? This is brilliant," and he ends up playing drums for Sooty, Sweep, and Sue are playing instruments, and he plays the drums for him on the Sooty Show. It's about 5 minutes long. Fucking brilliant.
Matthew Corbett there.
If you can, or if you want to,
I'll have a look with that, yeah.
Yeah. Don't take any drugs before you look at it. That might be my advice.
Yeah.
I'll try not to.
It does sound like that would be sound advice, yeah.
But what a fucking drummer. He's stayed there since. He's a lot older than the rest of them. I think he's about 6 years older than the rest. I'm pretty sure Nico McBrain is only about 6 months younger than my dad, and that had put him at 68. And you heard what he was drumming like on that Nights of the Dead one that I played Run to the Hills on. That was recorded in 2019. So, and it come out, the album come out last year. So he's still got it. Although it'd be the he'll probably be the first one to fail though, because being able to maintain that into his 70s. I mean, I know Charlie Watts for the Stones still plays drums, but Charlie Watts has always been very nonchalant. The way he just sits there, I'll just bat a beat out.
Yeah.
Nick McBrain's not like that.
No, I mean, look at Ginger Baker. He couldn't do it, could he, when he got older?
No.
No.
Right, we'll move on to song 2, Revelations. The bloke I was saying about earlier, who was telling me that the from Seventh Son was the theme to Rockless Babies. This was his favourite Maiden song. It's a great song, but I don't think it comes close to Where Eagles Dare. The only problem I have with Peace of Mind, and it's being ultra picky, is the fact that it opens with the greatest song. So for me, all the rest are not as good. I mean, they're all fucking fantastic songs, but
I'd argue that they put the greatest song slap bang in the middle, but we'll get to that.
Okay, right.
I'm actually quite a fan of Revelations. It's one of the ones that I wanted to learn on my electric guitar when I first got it, and it was so bloody difficult. It was unbelievable.
I can imagine. Of all the songs on this album, Revelations is the one that makes me think this could easily have been on Number of the Beast. It even has a sort of Number of the Beast sort of sound to it, to me, which is by no means a bad thing.
No, I mean, this was what the first song that had a proper Bruce Dickinson writing credit on it, and I mean the second fast bit with the lead solos in it, that twin lead on that it's another Goosebump solo. I absolutely think it's superb.
Mm. Yeah, so just because I don't think it compares to Where Eagles Dare, which I've already said is my favourite song of theirs, forever, it means no song is going to compare to it. So, Revelations is still absolutely, superb. And then we get the first single with old Flight of Icarus. Complete with the artwork. Do you know about it's the semi-hidden thing in the artwork here?
Are you referring to the TARDIS?
Yes.
Yes.
That's it's supposedly where Eddie's padded cell is.
Oh right, yeah,
that's what it's meant to be.
Yeah, no, I said that because someone I know used to say it was a TARDIS in the sky, and it's not. It's an open window door thing.
Yeah.
You've got to wait for somewhere in time to get the TARDIS.
Yes,
but no one's picked that, so it ain't gonna happen.
No, it ain't gonna happen. Well, we might have to have some honourable mentions, I guess, but for the moment we shall stick with this one. I just think it's a great song. It was a good choice of single, I think, because
a lot of people didn't think that at the time. A lot of people thought it was slow and plodding.
That's it, because it was a slow tempo song. It was a bit of a brave choice, no doubt about that. But I thought it was a great move. Have them release a single that's something a bit different.
Yeah, and 3-part vocal harmonies in the chorus.
Yeah, again showing that this is a band where they can sing, and when you got a metal band with someone who can actually sing, let alone the fact that you've got 3 people who are good enough so you can have a 3-part harmonised chorus there. Yeah, it just sounds so fucking good.
I think it's a superb track. I never thought that at all. I like the video for this one as well. With every time I mention the Madman, it's fucking Nico in a hoodie, or in a cape.
Yeah, they chose the right person for the part there.
Did you ever see? I think Chris did. Jim, did you ever see the recent live video for Flight of Icarus for the version that's on that Nights of the Living Dead album?
No, I haven't actually. No.
Make a note to hunt it down after we've done this. Bruce Dickinson sings this song, and he's got twin flamethrowers on stage while he's singing it.
Let's have a look. I'll write that down.
Yeah, it's definitely something that is well worth seeing.
So, I mean, speaking of mad Nico McBrain, if you it's on YouTube and it's an audio clip of Nico McBrain and Steve Harris having a massive fucking Barney.
Yeah, it's the B side to it's Mission from Harry, isn't it?
I
didn't know it was on a Mission from Harry.
Sounds like one of Lucosa's retro reviews.
It can't be as bad as that, surely.
you never heard Mission from Harry?
I haven't, no.
What it was, something went wrong with what they was trying to do on stage, and Steve Harris told his roadie to go and tell Nico to extend the drum solo because they need to sort something out. But the guy kind of tapped Nico on the shoulder and put him off a bit of the drum solo he was already in. So after the gig, he started having a right go at Steve Harris, saying, "Oh, your roadie's out of order, coming over and fucking up my gig and this, that, and the other," having a right go. Bruce Dickinson had a like a dictaphone type thing, and he thought it'd be hilarious to record it. So he started recording it, and of course, when you know that and you listen to it, you can hear fucking Dickinson putting the spoon in and stirring it and stirring it and stirring it. And when it gets to the last thing that's said on there, is Nico McBrain going, "Here, some cunt's recording this," and then there's a bang and it goes quiet. And what happened was he grabbed the tape deck and. Bruce Dickinson had to wrestle Nico McBrain to get the tape back off of him because it had all of his ideas for Power Slave on it, and Nico was trying to smash the tape up. That's Mission from Harry. That's called. That is well worth a listen.
Yeah, I'll be checking that one out after this. Right, let's get back to the playlist, and we get "Die With Your Boots On," which. Oh, that's a song that definitely has a very special place in my history. Yeah, I was seeing some bint at the time, and yeah, I just remember getting laid the first time I heard it.
That's fair enough.
Did you have your boots on at the time?
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, I didn't. She did, and she said, and it was because of this song that she did.
So she thought you were going to kill her.
So yeah, for that reason, yeah, this song certainly lives in the memory. But it is another fucking great.
Yeah.
Yes.
No argument. It's I like the references to Nostradamus and stuff like that in it. You know, 13, the beast is rising, the Frenchman did some eyes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of things people don't... Well, I know Maiden have done quite a lot of stuff about films and war and stuff like that, but they don't realise that our intelligent lyricists, all of them are.
Oh, yeah. Especially metal lyricists. You know, the age-old thing about, if you're in a metal band, you've got to be as thick as pig shit. I mean, it's fucking bollocks. Of the highest order, and yeah,
I'm going to go off a tangent in a second. Go on, Chris.
Okay. Well, I mean, Maiden are one of the prime examples of it. You look at the lyrics to any number of songs, and they're referring to major events in history, historical figures, films, literature, all sorts. They cover it all, and yeah. With the exception of, like I said earlier on in the video, a couple of times where they did cut corners with rather predictable and repetitive choruses, the rest of the time, their lyrics really do stand out.
Yeah, I was going to say, the case in point I was thinking of where people underrate metal musicians was when all the PMRC stuff was going on in America. And they're having a big court case about putting lyrics on stuff and that, and they thought, right, the people, Al and Tipper Gore were like, right, well, let's get someone thick in so we can get this sorted and get it out of the way. So they thought they'd call someone in they thought was thick because he wore a lot of pink string vests and wore a lot of makeup, and they pulled Dee Snider into court of Twisted Sister. And he turned up in court, he didn't have his makeup on, he had his hair everywhere, he had a white t-shirt, a leather waistcoat on, a pair of jeans, and he went to sit down and he reached into his back pocket like a naughty fucking school kid getting his homework out and got this bit of paper out, put it on the desk like that, and sat there and looked up, and you could see on Al Gore's face, he's like, right, we've got you. We're gonna wrap this up. And they started going on about a Twisted Sister song. I think it's called Under the Knife or something like that. And what it was, they were trying to say that it was promoting sadomasochist bondage, and it shouldn't be able for children to listen to it. And Dee Snider basically stood up in the court and he said, well, that was actually about my guitarist's throat operation. The only reason you're seeing porn and sadomasochism in this song is because you went looking for it. Who's the pervert here? Is it me for writing the song, or you because of what you're looking for? And he totally out-clevered them, and it looked like Al Gore was going to go across the desk and try and grab hold of him, and he was basically thrown out. And all that happened, instead of records being banned, they got a parental advisory sticker.
Yeah,
and that's because
sticker.
And that's because people think that people that write metal and sing metal are as thick as shit, and it couldn't be further from the truth. You know. I mean, it's handy they picked Dee Snider, who comes across as a twat, but he's actually a very clever man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my tangent. Sorry.
You could almost say he's the Jeremy Clarkson of the metal world.
Yeah, you probably could.
I mean, yeah, metal musicians are always classed as thick as shit. You know, well, he's got tattoos and his face pierced. It's got to be as thick as shit. But is Steve Harris as thick as shit? Is Nick McBrain? But no. But then you look at the cunts who are really successful, like, what's his name? Justin fucking Bieber. I mean, he's as thick as shit.
Yeah.
That's an insult to shit, Jim, to be fair.
I mean, the classic was Johnny Rotten. Everybody thought he was just a thick as shit yob.
No, he's a fucking intelligent bloke.
I love Johnny Rotten.
Lydon. Yeah.
And he was one of the first people to sort of catch on to Jimmy Savile and try and publicly out him. But we're going on a tangent now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, 78. He first mentioned it in the interview, and
yeah, they shut him down over that, didn't they?
Yes, that's it. Right, anyway, can't then, Panther, you get your moment of glory with the Trooper?
Well, it's the finest song recorded in the history of music. It's
Apart from
Eddie looking over my shoulder. Hey,
apart from Where Eagles Dare.
Well, we'll agree. We'll agree to differ. I mean, I don't think for 1 second you're going to turn around and tell me the Trooper's shit.
Fucking no way. I think it could be the best single that they released. Yeah, it's fucking fantastic, isn't it?
I mean, all right, I know I've got it over my shoulder, but let's have the full version.
Yeah, let's have it.
I mean, I like this song so much, I risked finding out how copy strikes worked for this video that we're doing now, and put the whole song up on my YouTube channel just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
After being warned not to by a few YouTubers, I thought, no, fuck it, I want to see what happens, and I didn't get a copyright strike. I got a claim, and because I'm not a monetised channel and never will be, it's just basically they've put a load of copyright spiel underneath my description. I can live with that. Oh, and there might be an advert at the beginning someone might put on. Well, then if Steve Harris gets money for writing the composition for it, then so be it. Well deserved.
Yes, if he's the man who wrote this.
Yeah, deserves every penny.
Yeah, so he can get a few pennies from YouTube as a result. Yeah, I can't fault it. Yeah, fantastic.
It's literally a perfect song. The subject of the Charge of the Light Brigade is brilliant. The original video, where they used the black and white film, is absolutely superb. Much in the way they did for Run to the Hills, but no comedy in it. You know, it's like it's got a bit of the poem up and that. Yeah, again, it's Maiden drifting into literature and stuff like that, which as we've just said, shows a considerable amount of intelligence, rather than singing, this is my bitch, this is my dog, I'm going to go and stab some cunt, which is what a lot of people sing about these days.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, I can't remember, I know she's got a face like a baboon's ass, fucking Nicki Minaj or something, repeating the words, you're a hoe, you a hoe, you a hoe, a fucking 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And then you've got songs like this, songs like Revelation, song like Where Eagles Dare, and, when you say about things like Evil That Men Do with the repeating chorus, compared to that, it's Shakespeare.
Yeah. And of course, with the, let's call it the chorus with this. I mean, there's no words really to it. But you know what? It sounds fucking good.
Sounds
does.
amazing live as well from the live albums I've listened to too.
Well, I mean, I can play a live version if you want.
Well, I get the feeling you're not going to be too thrilled if we say no, you're not playing any of the Troopers. So, yeah, hit us with it.
Well, might as well go from that recent. I'll say that about Rocky in Rio. That's probably got the Trooper on it from.
And there it is.
And there it is from the Brave New World tour.
Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, volleyed and thundered the Trooper!
I did it to you with fucking Where Eagles Dare. I better do it to myself. What a fucking song! Yeah, that's been my favourite for ages. Now, when I was a teenager, I had the biker's jacket and I had the sawn-off denim, and I had a patch for the Trooper sewn on the back of it. When that kind of fell to pieces, I salvaged most of the badges off of it. Probably lockdown weight hasn't helped me, but I've got a full denim jacket now, and I've got that same patch. My missus sewed it on the back for me, so I've got my original patch from 1988 on my denim jacket that I've got now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I remember. I like all teenage metal fans. I had the old denim jacket with Christ knows how many patches and all that sewn onto it. And at one point, I had the Stormtroopers of Death cover as like the large sort of like main back patch on it, and a couple of my teachers at school were giving me a right bollocking about it, and I was like, why? What's wrong? I had no idea back then about the, supposed, well, no, there's no really supposed about it. The racist overtones of the, speak English or die thing completely, passed me by. I just had it because I thought it was a fucking good album. So, not my finest moment.
No, I mean, it is a good album, but yeah, I mean, there's some questionable lyrics now. I mean, like the song AIDS and stuff like that. I mean, yeah. Not the sort of thing you play in polite company anymore, but yeah, like most things, it was a different time. You could get away with it back then. Was it wrong? Yes. Does it matter today? Well, no, not fucking really. No. Not unless you want to play it on the radio. We're not going to play any now, so it don't fucking matter.
Yeah. All right, let's go on then to Still Life.
Yeah.
Instrumental, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's the one that starts off.
Yeah. The piss take of the whole Number of the Beast thing.
Yeah.
It was Nico McBrain, was it?
I can't believe I just did the whole thing backwards, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's how much I've listened to this album. What it is forwards is what Ho said the thing with the 3 bonds. Don't meddle with things you don't understand. Basically, Nico doing a fucking Idi Amin impression. and basically they put it on there for a laugh to see what would happen.
Yeah. And that was another album I used to have. Is it John... Was it Fortune or Bird who did it? The Idi Amin show.
Oh, I can't remember now. I think I get them mixed up as well.
Yeah, it was one of them anyway. The PC Brigade of today would, they probably want to shoot anybody who owns that album now. But it was fucking funny. Yeah, I don't know why I was getting that fucking mixed up. Yes, that intro, it's sort of gone down in history now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, it's not an instrumental one. It's about jumping into the pool and stuff like that. It's yeah, and this was the other surprise song on the Seventh Sun tour.
I played this.
I played this live. Yeah.
Okay, I'm a bit surprised by that.
Yeah, if I go back, where's fucking Made in England?
Did they even sample in the intro as well?
No. Yeah. There you go. Track 4, Still Life, right after The Prisoner.
Yeah.
I mean, you imagine going to your first gig and having that lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to go to another gig again. Never live up to it.
No, I wouldn't, no. As you got it up there and we're talking about it, let's have a burst of Still Life then.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, pretty good live.
Yeah.
Not a note out of place in that singing.
Yeah, he was properly on form on the 7th tour, was old Brucey, because I think he was a bit rejuvenated because they were all absolutely fucked to bits after the World Slavery tour, and then with Bruce wanting to do some acoustic stuff on Summer in Time, and Harris basically saying, no, I want to do like this sci-fi sort of thing, and he didn't. There's not a single writing credit for Bruce Dickinson on Summer in Time.
Yeah, everything got rejected, didn't it?
That's when he was first thinking like, well, maybe Maiden's not going to be for me. And then when they started doing the stuff for Seventh Son, Harris said to Dickinson, "Look, this is what the sort of ideas I've got. What have you got? Have you got anything like to bring?" And then because Bruce is into that sort of like stuff and occult stuff and old like mythology and stuff like that, all of a sudden like his ears pricked up and he was back into it, and it's like someone had flicked a rejuvenation switch, and he was like a whirlwind of fucking madness on that tour. He's all over the stage, and this was still in the days when Dave Murray put him up on his shoulders when they were doing A Number of the Beast and stuff like that. It was one of the most energetic things a 16-year-old mind could see. I was blown away by it. But yeah, Still Life, great song. Always reminds me of the scary Disney film, The Watcher in the Woods, for some reason.
Okay. Oh, I've seen it once, but that was a long time ago. I don't remember it at all. Being a Disney film, I'm not sorry about that.
Even as
No.
a kid, I steered away from Disney. So.
Well, this was a live action Disney film.
Yeah, they were worse.
No. This one could have been a Hammer film. This one is as scary as fuck, mate.
Well, isn't it? I think is it Disney own the rights to? Is it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? It's something ridiculous like that. You know, like it's it's something like that. One of the like classic, cult horrors, and it's Disney that own the rights to it. It's something like it's either Texas Chainsaw Massacre or it's like The Evil Dead. It was something ridiculous like that. Maybe someone who's watching can let us know about that one.
Yeah, there's not much they don't own the fucking rights to now.
Yeah, that's true. Right, we go on to Quest for Fire, which is another one that gets a bad press, and I don't know why, because I think it's perfectly all right. I think it's more than perfectly all right. I think it's a good song.
It is a good song. Some good high notes from Dickinson. I've always just assumed that this is a song about however many million years it was BC with Raquel Welch. Is that 10 million years or 10 billion?
I think it was just 1 million years BC. The Hammer film, isn't it?
I don't know. It's Raquel Welch in Not Much Close, and
and
there's like fucking little salamanders with fucking fins stuck to them to act as like dimetrodons and stuff like that. And that's what I always thought this song was about. And yeah, people do take the piss out of it, but everyone knows that dinosaurs and people didn't live together, so I'm assuming they're talking about a film.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. I mean, it's not the kind of stupid mistake that Iron Maiden would have made. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is based on a film more than anything else.
No, it's got to be.
But, it's one that gets a bad press, and I don't know why. It's better than people give it credit for. I think a lot of people should just, ignore. Actually, I think a lot of the time the people who go on about it's shit and that because of what it's about, you say to them, have you actually heard it? No. Go and actually listen to it. It is a good song, Forget the whole business about the lyrics and all that. Just listen to the fucking song. It's fucking good. End of.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
And then we get... Oh, go on.
I was going to say, it's not my favourite on the album, but I still think it's a fucking good song.
Yeah. So then we get Sun and Steel. For me, this is the weakest song on the album, but again, it is still a fucking good song. I mean, if I was being ultra picky, Life is Like a Wheel is not going to go down as the greatest piece of lyric writing ever, ever to have been, written. But... again, ignore that. Listen to how good the fucking song is. I think it's great.
Isn't that Life is Like a Wheel, though? Isn't that to do with the wheel of life and death in some Japanese culture or something?
Yeah, well, see, because the whole song, it's about like the Japanese samurai, isn't it? So, that's what it's referring to, yeah.
It's one of my favourite songs on the album because I like the drum rolls into the choruses and stuff like that. It's like Nico doing... I mean, Nico is like Neil Peart and Keith Moon. He's not just keeping time; he's playing an instrument, and he's all over the place on it. He's in time perfectly, but you've got a fill here, a lick there, all these little tinglings he does on the top. He's playing an instrument rather than just keeping time for the bass. And I think this song really does show that with some of the rolls he does into the choruses.
Yeah. I have no arguments with that at all. Okay, so then we finish with To Tame a Land, the Dune song. A fucking epic, if ever there was one.
Yeah, but it was almost called Dune, wasn't it?
It was until Frank Herbert himself decided to quickly put a stop to that.
Yes, because he doesn't like rock bands, particularly bands like Iron Maiden.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well done, Frank. You cunt. There's a load of free advertising going. You know, this band's previous album went to #1 in the album charts on most of Europe, and you've just told them they can't use your song title.
Yeah.
You prick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a smart move, was it?
I mean, that's akin to someone like Tesco saying, "Yes, we sell dead babies." It's just fucking stupid.
I mean, yeah, obviously, you know, I guess because of the title, you've got to know about June to know what the song is about.
Yeah.
If they'd had the title June, then yeah, like you say, it would have given, you know, metal fans listening to it, they'd have then thought, okay, I'll check June out. He would have sold fuck knows how many more copies of the book. I mean, okay, it's not like the book bombed. It was pretty fucking successful.
I'm sure there's a story where when they made the film, Iron Maiden were asked if they'd like let them have that song for the title. And I don't know if this is true or not, but there's a rumour that either Rod Smallwood or Steve Harris said something along the lines of, no, because we don't like films, particularly films by Frank Herbert.
Yeah.
We
would have done. We would have done.
I hadn't heard that one. It
Yeah,
would
I
be
don't
fucking.
know if that's true or not, but if
So,
it's
yeah.
true, it'd be brilliant.
Yeah, so that'd be fucking great if that was true. It's one of those stories where you really want it to be. You don't know if it is, but you dearly hope it was.
Yeah.
Oh, what a fucking album! I mean that's one of the songs. We've got an old iPhone at work that we've got like about 2,000 songs on, and my brother-in-law who I work with, he listens to a lot of metal as well, and he likes stuff like the Pixies and all the stuff that's in the distorted guitar field. So we have a lot of stuff. And To Tame a Land is one of the songs my boss moans about because he doesn't like rock or metal at all. But he lets us play it, fair play to him. But when To Tame a Land comes on, because of how heavy the bass is in that song, he comes out and goes, "Will you fucking turn that down?" It's the only one. It was that and Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones because he doesn't like the ooh bit in it. And then the two songs he's complained about. Couldn't get two fucking different songs if you tried.
No. I mean, it's a fantastic way of bringing to a close Iron Maiden's masterpiece.
Although I have a feeling your scoring system's going to say otherwise.
I have tied it up. So, I guess for clarification's sake, basically an album that was placed in 5th place will score 1 point, in 4th 2 points, and so on and so on, up to 5 points for the album that gets placed first. So we can now finally bring the definitive top, well actually it's only top 7. We've had 15 choices and there's only 7 albums on it.
That is how good they are.
Yeah. So here we have the definitive top 7 Iron Maiden albums then. So in equal 5th place is Power Slave and Brave New World. They both got 3 points. In 4th place is Killers with 6 points. In equal 3rd is Seventh Son of a Seventh Son and Book of Souls, which both got 7 points each. At number 2, with 9 points, Number of the Beast. So at number 1, with 10 points, Peace of Mind. And so, it came up with the right answer as well as the definitive one.
Yeah, I forgot there was a band page. I thought we'd have the current iteration of Iron Maiden for that one.
Yeah, why not? Now, actually, while we've been doing this, we've had my favourite Maiden song with the fucking title's just gone out of my head. Favourite fucking song, but yeah, Where Eagles Dare. We've had Panther's favourite with The Trooper. So, Jim, we need 3 out of 3. So, forgetting albums, just favourite song. What would it
Okay. I will go for Rothschild, the original.
be? Okay, that's. I've got to be honest, that is a surprising choice.
Love that song.
Right, Paul Di'Anno or Bruce Dickinson singing?
The original, please.
So I happen to have the original with Bruce Dickinson laid over the top from his kind of job interview as well. Well, here we go.
Yeah, another painful cut.
Yeah, I've never only heard a bit of it.
I do like the intro to that song. I can't deny it, but yeah.
Yeah, his voice gives all the sort of anger and bitterness that he's supposed to have in the song.
Oh, his voice absolutely suits it. I really can't imagine Dickinson doing that one.
Have you never heard Bruce Dickinson do Rothschild?
Well, live versions of it, but a studio one.
Oh, come on, can we hear a little bit of his audition version then?
I've got to make sure I've got it somewhere. If not on here, I'll have to look in my folders. That helps if I'm on the right fucking screen. Oh, here we go. Bruce Dickinson auditions.
You know, my original idea of let's not have too much editing. Yeah, that's gone right down the shit of that, hasn't it?
I'm sure I can help you out with missing tunes. I don't know what the quality is like of this though. It's not 1979. It's 1981. There you go. That's a really old, crappy tape recording version, but it's still listenable.
Oh yeah, I do prefer the Di'Anno singing it though. I've got to admit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's just me. It's almost sounded like he was trying to do a bit of a Di'Anno impression there. It didn't sound like your typical Bruce Dickinson singing to me.
No, it didn't. And then he put some extra notes on the end of it, didn't he? Anyway.
Yeah. So, well, there we are. We've got the we've had our top 5s. We've now got the definitive top 7. I guess we've got to have some notable additions, because I cannot believe Somewhere in Time didn't appear. And I say the reason I didn't mention it is because I was absolutely convinced that either of you would have this on their list. So I just thought, oh well, I'll go with my number 5 things. I'm sure someone else will have somewhere on time. And no, didn't get a look in.
Went with Seventh Son out of the two.
Yeah, I did. It was Summer in Time to start with, and then I'm sure I had a conversation with Chris. Where he was saying, "Oh, yeah, there's no way Seventh Son's going to make my top 5," and I thought, well, perhaps he'll have Summer in Time then, so I'm going to go with Seventh Son. Yeah, you fucked that up, didn't you?
I mean, Loneliness of a Long Distance Runner, I think, is a fucking epic song. Heaven Can Wait, fucking epic song. Wasted Years, I know a lot of people seem to have a bit of a downer on it. I think it's a great song. They played that
on the 2017 tour, Wasted Years.
All right.
Carry on.
I mean, the only song I would say that I really am not hugely keen on from this is the other single, Stranger in a Strange Land. It's not a bad song, but to me, it just doesn't really go anywhere or do anything.
That's one hell of a picture, I'll give him that.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, that's one thing you can certainly say about when this album came out. I mean, Derek Riggs pulled out all the stops for the artwork for this.
Yeah. Well, what would my honourable mention be? I think my honourable mention would be, one that we haven't had, would probably be A Matter of Life and Death from 2006. Because I saw them on this tour as well. That was at Earl's Court again. And there was a lot of fuss kicked up about this. Firstly, they took Trivium on tour with them. And the reason they took Trivium on tour is because Bruce Dickinson mouthed off a bit about reality TV shows. And that evil harpy, Sharon Osbourne, the only time I've ever prayed for the cancer to win, started chucking eggs when I was on stage with that fucking badly made sausage of a daughter of hers. And it's also why I have zero respect for Zakk Wylde. I think he's a fantastic guitarist, but he kind of joined in and all that and was having a go. So there was all that because they took Trivium on tour, because Trivium apparently came on stage the next night and they were, all 4 members were dressed head to foot in Iron Maiden trousers, t-shirts, sweatbands, the lot. So they brought them over here on tour. And the other thing that was kicked off was Steve Harris decided Iron Maiden aren't a cabaret band. We're playing the whole of this album live. So they come out on stage and they basically, they played this album in its entirety. It's about an hour long. They played the whole of that, and then they played like 2 Minutes to Midnight, Fear of the Dark, blah, 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 Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills or Running Free. You know, they played 5 classics at the end. And a lot of people were kicking off about it. But don't go to the show then. It was well publicised beforehand. Buy Live After Death and listen to that. You know, play your old albums. Yeah. And the whole album worked really, really well live. And I think Book of Souls has probably got the best Eddie since Derek Riggs. But I think this is a pretty good cover. I'm sure this is done by the same guy as well.
I'm not sure who it was who did this one.
Yeah.
I do know, but I can't remember. It's one of them things. But yeah, that's if you haven't heard it, that's another really solid album as well. In fact, the opening track for that album is My Alarm Clock Every Day.
This is the album that has Passchendaele, isn't it?
No, that's Dance of Death, which is another fucking good album as well. Regardless of the album, the artwork, there's some fucking good stuff on that.
Okay, so what I don't know if I know this album very well.
Right, okay.
I was sure Passchendaele was on here. Let's have a look at the track listing of it. There must be someone on there that I know.
Well, Different World was the single.
Yeah,
and so was the reincarnation of Benjamin Brieg.
Okay, yeah, I know that one. I know Different World. I know The Pilgrim as well. So yeah, there are a few on there I know. For some reason I was convinced this was the album that had Passchendaele. Presumably it must have been because of the the cover made me think it, even though that clearly looks like a World War II tank, not World War One. But you get what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another really good album. I'd give that a. In fact, all 5 albums they've made since Bruce and Adrian rejoined the band, I think, have been fairly strong. The Final Frontier isn't quite as good as the others because that does go off a bit prog, but I like prog, so I really like it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I love prog. I got to be the Final Frontier is not an album that grabbed me. No,
Not even the song "The Talisman."
No, not really.
That's like
I don't know what it is.
quintessential Maiden.
I don't know what it is about the album. I think it's a bit like Killers. There was something sort of missing from it, and it just didn't have the bollocks really.
Oh, right. I mean, you know, each to their own. I mean, I think The Talisman is up there with any of Maiden's best tracks, and When the Wild Wind Blows, which is based on the Raymond Briggs book of the same name, is an absolutely fucking stunning epic again. Another 11-minute job. Yeah, well, each their own. I really like that album. That kind of come out when I was tattooing and that, so any victims got to hear a lot of it anyway.
They didn't, as long as they didn't want Alien Eddie tattooed on them. I don't know what it is. Alien Eddie, no.
You're not a fan of Alien Eddie, are you?
No, I'm not.
I don't mind Alien Eddie. You know, at least they did something that is eye-catching, if nothing else. I mean, it looks like an Iron Maiden cover, just looks a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, if the logo wasn't there, you would still look at that and say, that's Iron Maiden. But
I think using the alien was a bit of a sort of Mad magazine cover type gimmick.
Yeah, because if I actually go to the artwork for that, when they did the singles Eldorado and the Final Frontier, they actually did them like 1950s Pulp Fiction sci-fi comics.
Yeah, that looks like, you know, you're half expecting the Mekon to appear at some point.
Yeah.
That one.
And then the other one is, you know, it's the same sort of thing.
I gotta be honest, I don't know if that works too well.
I really like it.
It's just not Iron Maiden for me. That's the only thing. It's not that they're bad covers, but it's not Iron Maiden.
Yeah, well, that my honourable mention anyway would be a Matter of Life and Death.
Okay.
And Dance
Jim?
of Death and the Final Frontier. And Fear of the Dark.
All right, Jim, you haven't got much left here, but
Right, okay. Well, it's an honourable mention, but I'll go for No Prayer. It would have been the debut Iron Maiden album, but the production on it is just really not up to it.
I would have gone with a debut album over this one. This album, I thought it sounded like they were starting to run out of steam with it. It never grabbed me.
Yeah, there's a few tracks on it I liked. Charlotte the Harlot wasn't one of them. But I did like that because it got banned by the BBC for that reason only.
Okay, what about this one?
Well, that's the original artwork, and then the reissue artwork was like that.
Who is it who did the artwork for this? This isn't Derek Riggs, is it?
Yeah, it is Derek Riggs, yeah.
I've got to be honest, it's not up there with his best, is it?
No, that's Derek Riggs as well for the first single. That's Bring Your Daughter. That's the original Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter that got banned because this little red bloke here, if you zoomed in, apparently you can see his cock. So the second cover for Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter was that one.
Oh dear. I didn't mind a Holy Smoke either.
No, I mean I don't mind this album, to be honest with you. I mean this come out, you know, straight after Seventh Son. No, it wasn't as good as Seventh Son, but there's.
No.
I mean, some of the songs, Mother Russia could have been on. If it had been a bit longer, that could have been on Seventh Son. It's got all the synths and all that in it, but the rest of the album's quite stripped down. But I do like the title track. Run Silent, Run Deep, which is kind of based on the Hunt for Red October, is an absolutely fucking superb track.
Yeah, I agree there.
And Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter is not a superb track. I fucking hate that song, to be honest.
Yeah, I was confusing that with Charlotte the Harlot for some reason. Yeah, that's the one that got banned by the BBC.
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
I do like that song.
Bring
I'll
Your
tell you why I
Daughter
like
to the
that
Slaughter.
song. Because that was the first #1 single of 1991. It knocked the Christmas #1 single off the spot because they decided to release it in a week when no one normally bought records, and Iron Maiden fans being Iron Maiden fans buy everything.
Yeah.
The artist it knocked off of the #1 spot was Cliff Richard. Now my mum's a big Cliff Richard fan, and that was a fucking great day for me when it was a few years before, about 2 or 3 years before I moved out of home. That was like the best late Christmas present ever. Iron Maiden knocked Cliff Richard off #1. Fucking have that, mother.
that was only trumped by who knocked Simon Cowell's one of his acts.
Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against, yeah, that's the only thing that could trump that.
Well, I don't know, actually. That kind of backfired because, that song, isn't that on the Sony Music? Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, but it weren't so much about Simon Cowell because I bought the single for that reason. It was
It was
to stop another
fucking
manufactured
X-Factor
shit.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was his name Joe McElderry or something? Because there was a joke going around.
Fucking clue.
I have, because I remember the joke. It was someone told me at work. They came and went knock knock, and I went, who's that? They went Joe. I went Joe. They went fuck me. That was quick.
But it was the whole, because Simon Cowell used to say in the X Factor, yeah, your prize is a recording contract and you get to be Christmas #1. Well, not this fucking time, you don't. He actually told them they would be Christmas #1 every year.
That's the arrogance of Simon Cowell for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, there is some good tracks. Now, same with Fear of the Dark. You know, a lot of people say there's some crap on that, but there's also some very good stuff on that as well.
Yeah, I must admit, Fear of the Dark is another one I'm not big on.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the title track, as well as oh fuck, I can't remember the name of the song now. Where are you hiding? Afraid to Shoot Strangers. That has got a great instrumental section in the middle of it, really good solo, and that all of a sudden it just picks up pace, and it's like, hang on, this was a slow song about being anti-war and that, and all of a sudden you've fucking gone into a gallop.
Yeah. It does have its moments, I can't deny that. It gets off to an awful start with Be Quick or Be Dead, which I cannot stand. But yeah, it does pick up from there.
See, one of my favourites on there is Be Quick or Be Dead because of how fast and how heavy it is. Because when this come out, I'd got into like Slayer and stuff like that. So for Maiden to be doing a really fast song was like, aye, the game's afoot, and then the rest of the album wasn't like that. It was more like standard Maiden.
Yeah,
which is not a bad thing.
I'd say, yeah, that is not putting it down. I just thought the overall standard of songs didn't compare to the stuff that they had been doing in the 80s.
Yeah, that's a fair shout, mate.
Be quick,
there we go.
Be Quick or Be Dead could be about playing China Minor, I suppose. Yeah, so the last thing I'll say about the debut album, which I didn't include on the honourable mention, that would have been in my top 5 had it been produced with the same producer in the same studio as Killers. That would have definitely been quite high up on my top 5.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it is a decent album. There are some great songs on there.
Striking cover for a debut.
Does, oh yeah, the cover is certainly very noticeable. Yeah, the thing that does let it down is the production. But then, I mean, how many times do you say that about debut albums? I mean, I think there's so many, truly legendary metal bands, but their debut albums were fucking awful. Megadeth springs to mind.
Yeah, I'm not over keen on the reissued artwork either, by the way.
No, they don't work for me. Stick with the original.
Yeah. I managed to find the original version without the eyes blacked out. Not that made a fucking shred of difference, but
No. What was the single that had, the other one that had Thatcher on the cover?
right. Well, I can do that because you're trying to catch me out.
Am I? Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
Women in Uniform, cover of the song by the Skyhooks, which is all right. I'm not a massive fan. I don't know why this is lumped in with Killers, but when I looked, it was lumped in with Killers. But this still had Dennis Stratton playing on it. At least he's in the music video, and I think he was sacked shortly afterwards. When I was putting these into some sort of order, this come under kind of the singles from Killers. I think it preceded Killers, but it's goes in with that. Yeah. Don't hear people talk about Dennis Stratton much, do you?
Yeah.
Well, he was in a band with Clive Burr and Paul Di'Anno at some point.
Yeah, it was just before they started properly on Killers, wasn't it? They replaced him with old Adrian, who'd previously said no, so that's why they got Stratton in. Was that right?
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm glad Adrian said yes the second time, because the other person they was going to ask who said no because he was busy with his own band, Def Leppard, was Phil Collin. He's a good guitar player, but Def Leppard obviously went. Their first couple of albums are fairly similar to Iron Maiden's first albums, and then they fucked off down the commercial route, didn't they?
Yeah. That'll do for Def Leppard. Thank you very much. Well, there we go. What a way to end it, talking about Def Leppard.
Well, we're not going to go there because obviously we're going to. We might as well, once you tell everyone to fuck off in your own inimitable way, you've got to play out with Iron Maiden's theme tune, surely.
I suppose we will have to do that. So,
which version do you want?
Whichever one you like, but I'll tell you what, you're going to have to do it without me for a moment because I really do have to dash. So, bung on the last track, and I'll be back in a minute, but not for this lot on the video. So we'll leave you with a classic, and once we've had that one, go away.